Well, I like that.
We're hot.
Now you guys, do you get nervous now that we're hot?
No,
not at all.
No.
Ice in the veins, dude.
Ice in the veins.
What is this?
Low
Fit
calorie.
Aid.
This looks illegal.
This is healthy.
It's RX Fit Aid, bro.
I don't know, man.
I've had one of those in my cabinet.
The guys at Mountain Tough, when I was up there, said I did a workout with them last year. Like 2 days of intense workout. Like, they said that's actually healthy. I trust Dustin.
This looks like something for
legit.
Like bedroom performance.
Yeah. I mean,
Is there any updates on that front, Brady? Anything
no.
Wow, he's right back home from Alaska and just right at it.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's got creatine in it. It's good shit.
Is your Tinder app just firing nowadays, though?
Dude.
Are you on the Tinder game?
Hinge.
Hinge.
Is that the one where the female initiates first?
No, I don't know what that one is. I'm not very good at it. Everyone in this office really wants to live through me and all that, but I don't care. Like I've literally said right now, I don't care if a girl reaches out to me. If I reach out to him, going on a date, sure, it's fun. I just don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Are you just all grip and grins in the?
I do. I make it well known that I'm a hunter, and then I get a lot of messages back from girls like, "Oh, that's an awesome picture." I'm like, "This isn't freaking Instagram. You're not supposed to like my picture and then just not talk to me again." So like, that's sometimes what they do. And maybe I'm not skilled enough to talk to girls.
It's able to keep your pool small, though,
Have
right?
you had a girl over for dinner and made her your?
No,
dinner?
I haven't made her.
What would you make her if you had one over for dinner? Because we talked about your nightly meal prep, which is basically what?
It's basically ground mule deer in a tortilla with white basmati rice, a little bit of black beans, and tapateo, and that's it. That's what I eat every single night.
So let's say that you get a date and you bring her over. What are you making her?
I'd probably have to go either the burrito style, but I might have to get some salsa. I might have to get avocado. I might have to fancy it up.
You're still going with it.
You're gonna church it up.
Or I'd just go right for a steak.
Yeah.
Hard to argue.
Yeah, steaks.
Yeah. Steak is good.
Steak, potato.
Any sides?
Asparagus.
Oh,
I do like asparagus, but I don't buy any right now because I'm cheap. But I did just buy some sweet potatoes on my once every other month grocery run.
If she hit you right out of the gate and was like, "I'm vegan, but I'm down,"
to hang out.
What's the play?
No.
Okay.
That's a
I'd have to draw a
hard no.
Yeah.
Because like it's only going to add to bad things later on.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And I want someone to enjoy like literally I have 2 freezers full of meat. Like I want to share that with someone.
more meat for you though.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's true. It's less competition.
Less competition.
Yeah.
And it may be saving my grocery bill.
You wouldn't have to worry
this.
about her like seeing maps over your shoulder, combos on the phones with buddies.
Yeah, that's always a big concern.
But then
of
you're
mine.
gonna have to go grocery shopping, and that's gonna throw your whole plan out the window.
Yeah, I don't
No, then
I don't like
she
spending money.
grocery. You've got
Oh, I
the
got
muscle.
mine.
You've got the muscle now. She can go and do it.
Is that a category in your bio? Can you pick whether you're vegan, vegetarian?
Dude, it's got to be.
I'm sure you can
Carnivore.
you can put it on
It has
there.
to be at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like-
Omnivore.
Like literally, I think my first photo. I don't know why we're talking about this, but my first photo is me with a llama in Wyoming. It's a great photo. It's definitely.
Are you grip and grinning the llama?
Just walking with a llama.
walking with a llama.
Every girl who sees that on these dating apps just wants to have a conversation.
Yeah,
like, what is
of
that?
course.
Dude, that's actually a power
Yeah,
move.
Yeah,
That's a power move.
I thought of
Yeah.
that one really well.
Llama in the first slot is a power move.
That's legit.
Yeah, second one's
Yeah.
Tajikistan.
Also a power move.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a world traveler.
Yeah,
And I like llamas.
I was like drinking some tea in Tajikistan.
Well,
One girl commented once, I was like, hey, is that blood on your leg? I was like, yeah, I probably should have photoshopped that out. Because I'm wearing this like Sika white.
Yeah.
Sika whites with blood on it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That bold move.
Yeah. There's my personal life.
I like it. We'll revisit it here in a couple weeks.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I do go on dates every now and then. I'm not just a little hermit who hangs up with myself, but
Kind
I'm
of
pretty
sound like
picky.
you were at lunch.
I'm pretty picky. Yeah, you guys know me. I like being by myself. I like my whole house as a man cave.
I like tapping into the brain of Brady here.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys had good laughs at
Yeah.
lunch, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm not just crazy. It is actually true how crazy I really am. You guys got to hear some of
Yeah.
it.
Well, let's give an introduction. We got guests in the house.
Yeah, we got the boys from Sig Sauer. We got Anthony and Troy here. I mean, want to describe exactly maybe what both of you guys do? Because I don't. You guys' job probably is like what we do here. We have many hats. So
Yeah.
we're just going to talk about archery elk season, some optics.
Yeah.
What you got coming up. But yeah, maybe give yourself a little introduction, what you guys do over
Cool.
there.
Troy, go for
Want
it.
to go
man.
around the table? I am Troy Hellman, and I'm the brand manager for Sig Sauer.
Like the mayonnaise Hellmans?
I'm one end short of a lot more zeros in my bank account.
Just because of that.
Close.
That is my favorite mayonnaise.
Close. As brand manager, I kind of see myself as like the glue or the protector of the brand.
Okay.
And so pretty much all marketing for Sig Optics comes through me.
So optics department specific or brand as a whole?
Yeah, optics division specifically.
Gotcha.
So our optics division is headquartered in Oregon, and our main, like Sig Sauer main HQ is New Hampshire. So
I don't know if I knew that.
we're splitting the country coast to coast.
And how long have you been at Sig?
I'm like
fresh
5
fish.
months deep.
Oh, you're
5-6
brand
months deep.
spanking
Fresh
new.
fish.
Super
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
still getting my feet wet.
Yeah.
Sounds like your job's pretty busy.
It is. Yeah. It is.
It's a breath of fresh air having him there because we haven't had a brand manager on the marketing side for optics specifically for as long as I've been there. I've been there for almost 3 years now, but it's just never been a thing. So like having somebody like focused on that and like being able to help tell the stories of the products and like from where I come from on the product side, it's just it's huge. It's a huge benefit. So yeah.
I think it's an interesting dynamic because Sig Firearms is so well established. It's a legacy brand at this point, and optics obviously shares a lot of those common threads being under that umbrella. But at the same time, we have this super cool opportunity to kind of create our own identity in a way as like a sub brand. So it's a blank slate in a way, and one that's super exciting. So that's a large part of why I'm here now.
And what's your background? Where did you come from originally?
I came from lacrosse footwear, so did like footwear.
Okay.
And then we actually met working at a knife company.
Yeah.
The like corner of Northwest Oregon is really the production knife making capital of the country, if not the world.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so I had spent some time there. We hired on Anthony, and it was just like right out of the gate. We had some mutual friends ahead of the time that we knew, and after that, it was just like hunting partners, wives or friends,
Oh, that's
classic
nice.
Yeah. We
mix
spend
of
more
everything.
time with each other than our wives. It's pretty wild.
Yep.
Now that we work next to each other again, it's even worse.
It's bad. Yeah. Our desks are side by side, so
wow.
it's
We sit this close every day. Yeah.
productivity gets difficult sometimes.
Talking about hunting.
Yeah.
Pretty
literally,
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you live in Oregon now, but you're originally from back east, right?
Virginia, whitetail kid.
Is it back east or over east?
I think it's
or
back east.
The Far
Back
East.
Far East.
Yeah.
It's not the Far East.
Middle
it's
East?
Back, back east.
Yeah, back east.
Middle East.
I think if you're, not from the Middle East, but
So-
back east. I think.
Why do we always say back east?
I don't know. That's what we say in Utah. Southern Utah.
I feel
Back
like
east.
That's where
Back
everyone
east,
came
yeah.
from
Everyone came
originally.
from, yeah.
You know. So
It's part of the country I just don't try to spend a lot of time in.
I haven't been back much in the last 10, 15 years.
Gotcha. But back east.
Great place, but
You still whitetail hunt?
yeah, still whitetail hunt. I kind of like went down the rabbit hole of elk hunting, especially like Western Oregon, getting into Roosevelt's when I came out there, and so just going like gung ho on that for 10 years. And then I finally kind of started to come out of the rabbit hole a little bit, and just missed like being in a tree stand. You
Gotcha.
know? And so I've flown home a couple times, shot deer with my dad, and we're gonna do a little whitetail tour this year. We head to Illinois in 2-3 weeks.
Yep.
We'll be down in Nebraska, and so it's
Very good.
been good to kind of reunite with that passion.
Cool. Give us a rundown what you do.
My name's Anthony Cuomo. I am the observation product manager. Then I also dabble in lights and lasers as well. So weapon lights and weapon lasers. So sharks with laser beams.
Freaking laser beams.
Laser beams. But so I manage all the product line for all of our binoculars, which fall under the observation category, and spotting scopes. So from a day-to-day managing the business, trying to come up with new ideas and new product concepts, and we basically, as a product manager, we, from a conceptualization point of view, come up with a product brief, and then basically hand carry the products all the way through to go to market, and working with somebody like Troy as far as from a marketing side of, you know, what our strategy is going to look like when we bring a product to the market. So it's it's really cool, you know, being able to work in this space, and hunting is my all-time passion, is being able to touch all the products that I get to use in the field, and then getting to see people use them and talk about them all the time. It's like one of the raddest jobs I could ever have. And
That's
I've
cool.
been at SIG for like 3 years, and honestly, like the best job I've ever had. So
I bet that is cool to like conceptualize something, see it go to market, and like you just said, seeing people excited about using something that you kind of, it was your baby for a little while.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, it's even once it goes to market, it's still your baby to carry on through, and you're, you know, constantly trying to evolve products, and like, how do you make the last product the next big product? You know, it's like you can't just think right in front of you 2-3 months down the road. I'm thinking 3 years down the line of like what my category is going to look like from a business standpoint, how much I want to grow it, and, you know, from a product standpoint, what the portfolio of products look like, and technologies. And, you know, with working at SIG, we are technology driven, and I'm sure we'll get into the ZULU6s and all that, but like, you know, everything from our side, we are SIG electro-optics. So a lot of, you know, you look at a lot of our optics, it's all driven by electronic technology. And we get pushed to just, you know, I'd say push boundaries day in, day out, and try to find new stuff, and try to, you know, anything we're doing from rifle scopes to binoculars to pistol-mounted red dots to rifle-mounted red dots to rangefinders, everything is just like, okay, what's new out there? What can we capitalize on, and just drive the business that way? So it's super fulfilling.
It's got to be a lot of research work going into all that.
A lot of brainstorming.
Yeah.
Do you guys just sit around and spitball, just wild ass ideas?
Yeah, all the time.
A lot of it's like problem solving for ourselves, just like any hunt company. You know, we're the end user at the end of the day. So it's us spending time in the field, and, you know, developing certain frustrations or preferences, and coming back to the whiteboard and figuring out how we address that or solve for it in something tangible.
Is that how you justify your days off hunting? You're like, hey, I'm
100%.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's no
dude.
justification.
I'm out here trying to create problems to
work.
solve.
It's genuine.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I think we're the office refers to us as the Bino Boys.
Bino boys.
And the
Bino Boys. I like
the
that.
Bino Boys are gone. The Bino Boys are in.
Yeah.
with his Z.
Yeah, we call ourselves
in Vegas,
Seltzer Boys, and then they call us Bino Boys. Yeah.
Some Bino Boys tattoos, I think, while you're here in Vegas.
Dude,
We've got a long
you're
list
gonna
of
tap
tattoos.
into you're going to trap into a very rich vein if we start getting into tattoo concepts here.
Yeah. We had some bets 2 weeks ago
You
for
are from
tattoos.
Oregon. It's mandatory, right?
I don't have any.
No,
He doesn't have one.
Zero.
No way.
Yeah.
Yep. Zero.
Yeah.
I almost had one as
He
a
almost
result
had
of
one
what you
of
guys will get
me.
into here in
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's a podcast name again, right there. The Bino Boys.
Bino Boys, that'd be a great
Another one.
podcast.
You know,
It's trademark.
anyone listening,
Don't
you can't steal it.
touch it. Yeah, it's trademark.
TM.
Trademark.
Yeah.
How long has optics with Sig Sauer been a thing? Because I remember, I'm trying to remember when I've been going to SHOT Show for, I don't know, maybe 8-10 years, I guess, at this point. And I remember seeing the booth, and it was, you know, firearms and handguns and those kinds of things. But I distinctly remember starting to see like optics trickle in. But like, what's the history of optics with Sig, and like, why? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so it's been, I want to say now it's, I think 8 years, maybe
8 or 9.
Yeah, it's about 8 years. Yeah, the president of our company on the optics side, Andy York, they kind of started from a pool of like 5 people, and they all had background in optics and worked in other companies, and they kind of split off, and due to some legal reasons, they couldn't go and start another optics company immediately, and they went off and did some other stuff, and then got back into it, and they went to SHOT Show and just kind of shopped the idea around, and ended up having conversations with Sig, and that was how it kind of started.
Sig saw the potential.
Yeah.
And they were like, dude, we already make everything else.
Yeah.
Optics are hand in hand with the vast
Everything we
majority
do,
of our
yeah.
product line.
Yep.
So if we have an opportunity to just build this ecosystem, let's do it. And it started here.
Yeah.
Like
rangefinders.
rangefinders.
Yeah, that's right.
The first thing. I think it was like 2014-ish.
Yeah.
that they brought the kilo.
The 2400.
Yeah,
I think it was like the 2000.
I think it started with like the 1800s, 2000s, and then built into like the ABS 2400. And then obviously now we've got 8Ks, 5Ks, and we've gone away from the whole 2400, 2000, 1800s, and so now everything's K series of rangefinders. But yeah, it's been wild to see. You know, before I worked at Sig, I was looking for a rangefinder that was a lot smarter than I was. And I stumbled upon, I was actually on a Colorado hunt, and I was using another brand's rangefinder, and it totally failed in the snow. And I came out of that hunt and I was like, there's got to be a better solution out there. And I just went and deep dove into every rangefinder out there, stumbled upon the 2400 ABS, and I went out and bought it with my own money. And like, this was well before I worked at Sig, and like, I was like, wow, this is game changing. Like, that was like huge, being able to have your ballistics right up in there, and like being able to range, have onboard environmental sensors, the whole deal, loading ballistic profiles. And then, enter 4 years later, I'm at Sig, and being able to work on all this stuff and being able to like actually field test all these products. And it's not just like, I manage the bino line, but I work with our product manager Aaron on the rangefinder side, and he's into the competition side, but I'm on the hunting side. Troy's there now, and we have I would say a pretty good population of people at our office that hunt. So you always have feedback coming back. It's, people go out and
whether you want it or not.
Whether you want it or not. And some of it's
if
good.
You're lucky,
some of it's bad. Yeah.
I mean, if it's a good environment,
yeah, it's good. And that's the cool thing at Sig is there's just like all feedback's welcome, and everybody can pitch in an idea, and we'll vet out the ideas, and if it's good, bad, whatever, it's all conversations.
I pitch you some random ideas at random times. I'm just like, hey, what about this?
Yeah, no, I love
I'm
it.
just like, hey, can you maybe put that in there or add this little thing? So, I don't know. It's just one person's opinion, but you said that sounds cool.
Yeah.
And like you actually just took my opinion, and I don't know if it's ever going to go anywhere, but it's cool to be able to voice something.
Yeah.
And I'm just a general user.
Yeah.
That's all I am.
And that's the thing is like, you have to have direct feedback from people that are using the products to make products better. And if as a product manager, you're not willing to take that advice or take feedback like that, then you're going to have a rough time. And even as a company too, it's like you have to evolve, and no better way to get direct consumer feedback.
Is it a dumb question to ask you, like, what's the origin of the name Sig Sauer? Like, what does it mean? Is it somebody's last name? Do you guys know?
JP Sauer and Sons was the original.
Okay.
Yeah. And you might know more about the
broken history. It was a Swiss company, and I believe they were making wagons.
Yeah.
And this is like, I think 1800s, they're making wagons. And I might be mistaken, but I believe the Swiss military put out like basically an open bid for a contract for small arms. And these guys were like, I mean, we're super dialed on wagons.
We make wagons.
But we can make wagons. Like, screw it. Let's
They're the Swiss.
see what we can do.
Yeah.
And kind of like morphed over time and evolved into them, making phenomenal small arms, pistols and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And has kind of bounced around a little bit and morphed into what is now current day Sig Sauer.
Gotcha.
Were you saying earlier that like rangefinders kind of put you guys on the map for the optic side?
Yeah.
That was the first product we ever brought to market.
Because I recall like way back in the day, I was using different rangefinders with ballistic solvers in them. They're big, they're clunky, horrible battery life, horrible beam diversions. I went on a hunt once with my dad. My dad came to Montana, and I was a resident there. He had the 2400 ABS back in the day, and I was like, it's that small?
Yeah.
And it does all this?
All that.
Yeah, that's the one I remember. They made a huge wave at SHOT Show. I remember that. I remember going through and doing, I can't remember if I was writing an article or something, but I remember thinking like, okay, I haven't seen this before.
Yeah.
Like that was the one that seemed to, it made a huge splash.
I was absolutely blown away how small it was and all the power in a small rangefinder. Like you couldn't get all that before.
No.
And it's like, okay, everything matched up. My dad was using it. I was blown away.
Yeah.
How far he could range. He could range deer targets that far away. Had everything in there, all your atmospherics. We tested it in a vehicle when it was really hot. Ranged something, put it outside, let it acclimate again. Like it gets totally different ranges because it's supposed to because of the temperature difference and all the other atmospherics. But I was just like, that was it for me. Like that was not my first Sig product I ever owned was the 2400. After that, I was like, I have to have one of those.
Same here. Yeah.
It was like just a badass piece of product, and now it's just evolving into all these other crazy things we have sitting on the table. And more.
How we feeling about rangefinders for bow hunters specifically?
So we've
because you've got the Leupold full draw 5, which everybody's like, oh, that's kind of the
so
quote unquote standard.
That was kind of like me coming into SIG was, obviously knowing what was out there and not being the rangefinder product manager, but just kind of obviously being a user, and we shoot our bows a lot, and it's pretty much all we do in our off time if we're not, I don't know, hunting basically, or if I'm not out shooting a rifle. I'm at the archery range and, talking to other people out there that are using the full draw and whatnot. And it's, we had that conversation multiple times. Is the climb worth it? And so we actually went at it this year, and we launched archery mode into our rangefinders. So all of our K series.
I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah, this is I would really want to trail to hear this discussion. I was going to bring up a little bit. Archery mode is.
Yeah, so we have
For
in all of the
all
K
the
series,
rangefinders?
all the K series.
Okay.
So if you had, let's say you bought like a 5K before we had launched it, you just open up the app and it'll upload it right into your BDX app, and you can connect your rangefinder, update it, and you have archery mode built into it. Basically all we're doing is inputting your bow speed into it, and it's calculating your drop for you, or your cut chart. And we kind of attacked it pretty simple. We don't have peep height in there and all the other stuff that Leupold has in there, but it's working great. I think we've had it in hunters' hands. We've had it in, on shooters on the ASA tour, all that stuff too. So I think we're just trying to expand it and trying to make our products better, but day by day, and trying to introduce new features like that. We are, in the future, I think we're trying to get things as small as possible too. It's like, from an archery specific, like doesn't need to have any ballistic calculators in there for a rifle, but we want to have cut charts built into it strictly for archery. We will be working on that, and there's, I think, the race of trying to see how small something can get and how compact you can get on stuff like that. So, is
there a distance limitation on archery mode? That's the only thing I don't recall ever seeing.
Yeah, there is, and it turns over. So I think it's, I want to say, don't quote me on it, I believe it's like 150 to 200 yards,
which is
and
ridiculous.
It flips over to just a normal angle modified.
Yeah, so it's going to cover everyone.
It's going to cover everybody for archery, unless you're taking 200-yard bombs. So,
have you ever taken a 200-yard bomb trail?
No, on an animal.
Not an animal.
You have on a target?
Yeah, I probably have.
Doing those, like, I'm
just
just
for
going to
shits
send
and
it.
giggles. Like at a fun shoot or something like that. Yeah, I've probably taken a 200-yarder. I was shooting 2 mornings ago, like 120, 130. Yeah, but not 200. That's poke.
Yeah, it's a poke.
As long as that arrow in the air.
My God. 150 would cover it. I think.
It's like watching a recurve.
Yeah, my biggest gripe with rangefinders, I'll just throw it out there real quick. It's just the amount of pressure it takes to activate the button. That's my biggest beef with a rangefinder. It has to be super light, because otherwise your hand shakes too much. Yeah. And like when I'm nervous and I'm in tight anyway, like I'm shaking. And it sounds stupid, but it's actually one of the biggest reasons I like I have a Leica, but I like, that's one of the reasons I like it, is because it doesn't take much pressure. To push the button. So I'm just going to throw that out there right from the jump.
Well, I like it. Take that right back to the office.
Yeah, got to be light enough that when you push it, you're not getting a lot of handshake in it.
I've never thought about that.
Really?
Ever. Yeah, that's never even crossed my mind.
Look at that.
See, and this is why you have these conversations.
It
because
is. It truly is,
you hear things from people that are users.
Different use cases. I would have never thought about that.
Because a lot of them are pretty stiff. Yeah. You got to give it a pretty good push.
I feel like this is not.
That one's pretty light.
Yeah.
Do you like it? It has to be pretty silent too, right?
It's gotta be silent,
it can't click.
I don't like a loud,
what are we talking
clicky.
about?
All right, trails in the
That's pretty light.
Yeah, it's pretty light.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. The cut chart that we developed for this, we had to do ourselves.
Yeah.
We couldn't run Archer's Advantage. And so our product line manager for rangefinders,
aka Space Boy,
we call him Space Boy because we poached him from NASA, and so like the dude's way smarter than like all of us combined. And we basically locked him in a room and had him figure out that specific archery cut chart based off just simply bow speed, arrow speed.
Yeah, that one's pretty light.
Yeah,
I haven't played. I mean, admittedly, so I haven't played a lot with SIG products. So I mean, other than just picking them up at a show, I'm kind of tinkering with them a little bit.
Yeah.
Haven't had one out in the field, but that one feels good.
And that's why I wanted Trail on here.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we have a person who uses them every single day. And no one, so it can't be like, oh, Brady's just always biased. He just loves
Yeah.
them. Everyone
Yeah.
does that.
Sometimes I'm a little slow
good
to
balance.
adapt
Yeah.
things.
Good balance.
I will
Get you
say the
using
only
some
animal I've
ZULU6s.
really missed big time was due to an angle compensation.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few years ago I missed a bull downhill. My rangefinder, you have to hit the range, you have to wait like a split second for the calculated range to pop up, and I just spaced it and
Yeah.
shot right over the top of him. So I'm in the market
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
Trail wants something quiet, easy to push a button, and not complicated on the screen for his bow.
That's
just
it.
kind of what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Just give
Yep.
me
Simple.
calculated range.
Yeah.
That's it. I can do the rest. I think
Yeah. Can you?
I could try. I'll give it hell anyway.
Well, maybe while we're talking about that, talk to me about the 4K with the optical
Image stabilization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
that kind of
so-
works.
Yeah, we obviously started doing the image stabilization in the binos first, and then kind of I think just naturally people asked for it in rangefinders, and
Yeah.
yeah, the 4K kind of just came up in conversation. I think obviously back to consumers, like talking about it at shows, and everybody asking for it. Can we get that? And the new question is, can we get ZULU6s with a rangefinder built into it? And we're obviously that's
On the map.
that's on them. I think it's something we're exploring. It's just very difficult with the image stabilization to get a rangefinder to accurately
Range the same
range
spot.
at the same spot, and so that's why on the 4K it has the degree of image stabilization is like half of what the binos are. So the cool thing with the rangefinder is you're talking about shaking and all that. I mean, as soon as you hit that range button, I mean, it basically just takes all that shake out, and iOS turns on, or did I say it?
Yeah.
OIS. I said
OIS.
OIS. iOS. That's a computer sign. The image stabilization, as soon as you hit that range button, cranks on and it just stabilizes your image. So yeah, that's kind of how the idea was born out of the image stabilized binos. And I think definitely like at the Total Archery Challenge this year, we showed up with products, and it was really, I think, heavily based on the ZULU6s, and the 4Ks were wildly popular.
So as you push the button, it stabilizes itself. There's not two separate modes. You don't have
Yep,
to push two
correct.
buttons or anything
Correct.
like that.
Yep.
So you push the button
Yep.
to range, it
It
stabilizes,
stabilizes
gives
your
you a
image.
range.
Yeah,
That also has archery mode in it?
correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm sold.
I don't know about the button on this one. Let me check it.
Is it light enough for Trail?
I am.
Dude, that's even
It's
lighter.
even lighter.
That's
Ooh, I
even
like
lighter.
that.
Yeah.
And that's like
Oh, yeah.
that's an awesome one too that we've seen, like getting feedback from folks like kids,
Yeah.
shooting their first deer or
Yeah.
whatever. When that kid is just like losing
Yeah.
it, it's a little easier for them. You're like in that moment, dad's kind of faded back. Maybe he's calling a bull in. The kid's like just old enough to go up there and do it
Yeah.
on his own. It's an awesome technology for those that like might need that stabilization a little more than others.
That was one of those things I was like, well, you got him in the ZULU6s. Can you get in a rangefinder and make it work? And then kind of
Yeah.
launch that one. And could it be something safe to say that, since it's there, it might evolve into other, binocular rangefinders that you guys have? Or is it
As far as the image stabilization,
Stabilization? Or is that a feature like maybe specific for that one?
yeah, I think right now we're living there. I don't know on the roadmap if Aaron has it. I'm sure he has other plans to do some other ones. I don't know if we'll see that get into at 8K anytime soon. I think it's something that we're still trying to, obviously it's a great product, and again, just always looking to refine things and make better in the future. And I think once we get to that point, I think it can evolve into something with an active matrix OLED display like the 8K and 10K have.
It's like the solve with image stabilized rangefinders is like we can stabilize the image that you're seeing, but you can't stabilize the actual
The
handshake and the laser itself.
That's even kept me up at night trying to leave. Even though I don't work for anyone, I'm just like, how could that actually work?
Yeah.
Because if it could, it'd be just perfect. Where
Yeah.
you could do both.
Yeah.
But it does seem very complicated. Like, it's moving around, and where's the beam, getting shot off from that, and is it going through that?
That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
And that's like the trickiest part with having an image stabilized bino with a rangefinder built into it is like, that's like the number one question we get asked everywhere we go is like, when are you guys going to have that in the ZULU6? And it's Space Boy's going to have to figure that one out.
Come on, Space Boy.
Back to the dark room.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about that, can you describe like what beam divergence actually is on rangefinders? Because it's a little bit of confusing thing even to me. Like, how would you describe that to someone? Like,
I'm probably the worst person to ask that question.
Yeah.
If Space Boy was here, he would be able to nail that down.
'cause I know it's his numbers. Like I have it
Yeah.
right here on my computer. You know, like the AK 1.2 by
Yeah.
0.25 MRAD.
Yeah.
But like, how would you describe that? And like, you know, that's obviously gotten tighter over the years.
Yeah.
Like beam divergence have gotten better and better.
Yeah. I'm not even.
What are you even talking
to.
about?
Yeah.
I'm the
What,
marketing guy.
what is it?
I'm like way out here.
What
Boys.
is that?
So you know how you can take a rangefinder, and I've done this before with all rangefinders to test out where
the
it's
beam actually hits.
ranging in the middle. So you can go from a telephone pole, look up at it, hold the button, go over to the telephone pole, and all of a sudden it'll pick up, so you can see where in that rangefinder
where the beam
up,
is.
Yeah.
and come back down. So it's like basically how tight the beam is hitting something you're looking at. So when you're looking at an animal really far away. Am I actually ranging that deer, or is the beam divergence a little bit bigger? So it's
bigger.
picking up to the
Gotcha.
right or left of the animal. So I'm actually getting a tree that's closer and the deer's way further back. So if I now dial for that, since the beam divergence was wide, I'm not actually getting that deer that's in that, I don't know, clear cut or something
There's
like
an
that.
answer to this question.
So the AK.
Just get closer.
Get closer.
Well, there's that. Come on. But the AK, you can actually adjust your beam.
Yep. And that's
So,
one of
yeah,
the favorite features
yeah.
on that you can move
And
that
a
around
lot
to
of
get that
people
perfect.
don't know that.
Yep.
So 10K as well. So AK and 10K, you can actually
You can
go
shrink
into
the beam?
that. You can't
No.
shrink it, but
You-
you can
you can-
actually adjust it.
Move it.
So that's why I said that,
Okay, yeah.
that telephone
Gotcha.
pole test
I'm tracking. Yeah.
Yeah.
is the best way to do it. You can do it with any rangefinder. And back in the day, me and my dad had little notepads, and we wrote down where exactly our
Yeah.
rangefinder, the beam was in the middle. It wasn't in the middle. It was always maybe off to the left, high a little bit. So we knew that needed to be on the animal. But now we said with like
Yeah.
the AK, I could
That's really
actually,
weird. I
I can
never
actually
knew
move
that.
that. I can actually move
Yeah.
that crosshair point around to get it perfectly.
Yeah, you're not actually moving the beam, you're moving your crosshair.
Yeah,
in
on the
You're
screen.
zeroing
Yeah.
your
Yeah, you're zeroing your
Yeah.
your
So
display.
it's
your
basically.
reticle.
Like you
Yeah.
said, yeah, you
Display.
could get closer, or you could just get some cool tech
I didn't know that
Yeah.
with some tight beam
about a
divergence.
rangefinder.
Yeah,
Technology is pretty cool.
That is.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
So that's what. Yeah, I
I'll-
thought that was.
Sorry, I don't have
I'll
a
be
wonderful
dude,
that's,
answer
yeah,
on
no,
that.
that's
Yeah.
like primarily bow hunting. That's way above my pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
get them close.
yeah, for competition shooting, for like when I use the 10K for that matter, like I'll definitely go in there and adjust,
Yep.
you know, as far as my reticle goes for that. But
Yeah, because I know like
AK too, and it's like it's usually very, very little you're making an adjustment on it.
It is
but
very little.
yeah, it's a huge selling point because I mean, and a lot of people don't even know that.
they don't.
I would say probably 98% of people don't know.
And that's where sometimes you're at the range or you're missing an animal. You think, oh, it's my gun. I'm not getting the dope correctly. But sometimes it could just be beamed to where your beam is actually aiming at,
Yeah.
and it's shooting the burn behind it.
It's
So
always
you're
the
dialing
gun.
up too high.
It's always the gun.
It's always the gun.
It's
It's
never
always
you.
the gun's fault.
It's always
It's
the
never
bow.
the
Always
user.
trail, it's always the bow.
Yeah.
That's
Always
why-
the bow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huh. I learned something. I didn't know that.
I love when trail scissors learn something. That's my whole goal in life.
Let's talk binos.
Yeah.
You guys you've made big waves lately.
Yeah, we are. We're in the relaunch mode of all of our binoculars. So when I started at Sig, I was hired on as the thermal product manager and weapon lights and weapon lasers product manager, and we only had the Echo 3 thermal, and we were looking to grow that line, and it was just kind of wasn't top of mind for us. And my boss Joe was still managing, so he's the director, but he was still managing the binocular line. And I was like, hey man, what are the chances are that I could just take that category and run with it? And he was like, well, I'll think about it. And like a week later he came back to me, he's like, cheers, go for it. So we basically my whole plan was like, we have the ZULU9s.
Why did you want to do that?
Why?
Yeah, just personal interest in optics, or were you like, did you see something
Well,
like did you think that there was something you could take on, that you could make a splash, that you could do something unique?
I felt like there was like our original like industrial design was all based around, and this idea is called Stealth ID, and that was like what everything looked like. And like, we had really good binos, like glass wise, but everything was old and stale, and they'd been around for 6 years, and they'd just been kind of chugging along. And we had the image stabilized binos, and they were maybe a year and a half, 2 years old at that point. So like me all I want to do is hunt, and obviously I love glassing. Glassing is probably I would say top 5 things to do is just sit down and glass and pick apart terrain, and it's like a treasure hunt. And so for me, it's like I just love it. And so being able to kind of just take it over and revamp it was kind of like, all right, this could be cool. Like I could actually like do some really cool stuff here, and like we obviously have a huge backing, and like I think we could actually do some legit products here, and we had a good basis of as far as glass and optics go already. But, you know, from an industrial design and just like some simple things could be changed drastically. So, yeah, set out, and basically 2023 was the relaunch of all of our, you know, every single binocular that we had in our line, from just a non-range finding binocular, was like looking at everything. What can we do? What can we improve? First things first, we tackled the ZULU6s with the image stabilized bino. It's like, you know, as far as the feedback goes in the marketplace, people were already people were buzzing about it, but it wasn't like in everybody's face at that point. And the people that knew about it kind of knew about it. But
people like me were kind of keeping it secret for a
people
little bit.
Yeah, some people were not talking about it a lot.
Is there anybody else doing it? Do you aware of?
I mean, there's people like Canon's doing it.
Non-endemic.
I remember the Canon.
Yeah.
That appeared, but I remember
They
those.
still have them. Fujinon. There's a bunch. I mean, there's
Steiner.
Yeah, there's smaller companies doing it that are in the hunt space, like really fringe, like tiny companies like overseas. But as far as like in our space, nobody's touched it. And we, again, we coin ourselves on technology and innovation. And I think the original ZULU6s were definitely that. I think the biggest feedback that I got at the time was the clarity in glass. Low light conditions that was kind of like one of the biggest things that people would always bring up to me. Prescriptions as well, like, you know, is there any other prescriptions you guys can come out with? And so we set out on that first. It was like, how can we improve the glass? What prescriptions can we introduce? And then it was also like, okay, like, what else can we do to these to, you know, bring some more interest into it and obviously make it a better tool? And we ended up developing this new mode in them called target mode. And target mode is 50% more stable than the original scan mode that we had. So you already have something that's super stable and great for scanning terrain. And then it was, you know, how do we develop something that's a little bit more extra as far as, you know, the image stabilization, and how do we, you know, make it like a true glassing experience off of a tripod? Because that was the whole point of the ZULU6 is ditch a tripod. You don't need a tripod with these, and you don't have to sit down. So your speed, I call it's like speed dating, but speed glassing.
Speed dating.
Speed dating.
Maybe I should try that.
Yeah.
Ears perked up.
Speed glassing.
That's what I like.
But yeah, it's, you know, so I think that was like the recipe there, and we developed the new mode, target mode, and then we kind of just went to the drawing board, looked at prescriptions that we wanted to introduce. We had the 10 by 30s, 16 by 42s at the time. We introduced a 12 by 42, and then we introduced the 20 by 42 as well. So we pretty much came to the table with a whole, you know, a menu of different prescriptions versus just the 2 that we had. So yeah, it's that product in itself has been probably the biggest launch we've had this year. Guys like Brady have been, you know, you've been raving about it. You know, everybody that tries them, it's one of those optics you have to like actually try to see. You hear people talk about it and you kind of brush it off and you're like, cool, all right, that sounds neat, dude. But then you get them in your hands and you're like, holy crap, like it's so literally game changing.
I've been kind of I'm kind of the guy that's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm slow to it, and I've got the things that I like. I like the tripod. I like the, you know, I've used Leica mostly. It's been my go-to, and I look through a Leica. I'm just like, man, it'd be damn tough to imagine to get it any better than this mounted on a tripod. So I'm curious, like, convince me. What is it about this? I mean, is it clarity? Is it stability? Like, do you prefer that over something else mounted on a tripod?
So if it depends on what kind of hunting I'm doing, and I kind of approach it as like it's a different tool to have. Okay, so I won't sit here and tell you to replace your 15s on a tripod any day, but like a pair of 10s on my chest and a bino harness, I'm running 12s or 16s all day over those.
With the stabilization.
Stabilized, yeah.
Like 100%. Like depending on what kind of hunt I'm going on, like I am 15 by 56 in my pack with a tripod if I'm doing that kind of hunting,
Sure.
and I want to have that extra,
Yeah.
you know, as far as like clarity and glass, like you're not going to beat that. It's unmatched. Like I'm not going to BS you. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh yeah, it's better than Zulu 10s or whatever, you know? But what you gain out of that is like with the, you know, 12s or 16s on your chest is like, I don't have to sit down. I'm not wasting time pulling the tripod out of my pack. If you're on horseback, you can glass while you're on horseback. Like, I mean, there's just so many different things. If you want to drive down a highway going 60 miles an hour and glass while your partner's driving, not you driving, but you know, you can be glassing. I mean, it's, yeah.
You be glassing those antelope as you're driving.
The autonomous cars driving down the road. I mean, I guess you could.
Yeah, we ran into a bunch of
That's
those
what I
today.
need is an autonomous truck.
Yeah.
It can drive me while I glass.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a different tool, and I think that's what's so unique about it is that, you know, while you're hiking, you stop for a second, you're glassing, and it's like you're glassing off of a tripod, but you're not wasting that extra time sitting down and setting up. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many different uses for it. Like I think Brady was talking about glassing off of a raft. Like you ain't doing that with a pair of binos, regular pair of binos.
Like handheld, when you go handheld, stabilized versus anything else, doesn't matter how good that glass is of whatever you're holding that might not be stabilized. You're going to get outglassed every time by stabilized binos. It's like not even close.
This is why I'm glad you guys are here, because Trail's heard me rant about this a lot. You know, I talked about it. All my hunts I come back from, the use case is windy, you know, whatever it is. But literally, like I said, you just said, you can outglass someone else with no matter what binos they have from what manufacturer. You can see more details with a stabilized image.
If it's 1-to-1, you're both freehanding. The stabilizer is going to beat every.
When you're hiking up a hill and you see an animal try to skirt through the timber, you're trying to pull up your binos. You're literally breathing hard.
Heavy,
You can't get really stable. I can just flip a switch.
Yep.
And it's like I'm glassing up a tripod. Oops, move my mic.
Yeah, I ran around on a spring bear. Like I did a backpack spring bear hunt this past year, and I got to the end of the trip, and I was kind of looking at my buddy, and I had that epiphany moment where I was like, I realized that I was so much more efficient in time on this trip. Especially with bear hunting, where it's like, is it a stump? Is it a bear? Is it this? Is it that? Like, I was able to we were both able to just fly through country and not sit, pop the tripod out. Then you get stuck bullshitting and eating snacks or whatever. And, you know, what should be a 2-minute thing, if that 30 seconds turns into you spending 15, 20, 30 minutes sitting on the hillside.
Like how goofy you look holding your bow with your binos like this.
Versus
me just holding my bow and I'm like this.
Top cam?
Yeah,
like
something Trail can relate to.
I'm just like
do it all
this.
the time.
Like
I
single-handed.
still put mine like out of habit.
Yeah, out of habit, but like
decade of
single-handed. I can outglass you. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I've had a couple of moments within the last probably 3 months, things that people have said. Brady, I think, told me once, saying the argument that he makes, like if you're hiking up a hill and you see an animal and you are breathing heavy, like that makes total sense to me. You can pop that up, because I've definitely had those situations happen. The other one, I had a guy on my podcast, Jared Knighton was his name, and he's, he does mostly high country archery, mule deer, and he's, above timberline, alpine type country. And I was asking him, what's your glassing setup? And he's like, I don't bring a tripod. He's like, I just glass off my knees. I sit down and I glass off my knees, because that early season, he's like, I feel like I can pick apart the landscape a whole lot quicker without digging through a tripod. And actually, as I thought about it, I'm super meticulous when I dig my tripod out. Like I am dissecting a hillside probably too slowly for a lot of environments. Yeah. So when he was talking to me, that's when, a product like this popped into my head. And I was like, oh, that would make good sense, because you could still get the benefits of having a stable line of sight, but also the ability to go quick without a tripod and move quicker.
Oh, you're covering more country.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is like eye strain, eye fatigue. It's incredible. Like spring bear season, again, I go back to it. It's a season I spend probably the most amount of time behind glass for what I do. And you get to day 2 or 3 spending that much time behind binos, you start working up a pretty decent headache from eyes straining to stabilize an image for yourself if you're not putting something on a tripod every single time. And so I've found, like, I have an astigmatism, and getting these things balanced and then running these heavily, I can make it so much longer, so much deeper in my trip without working up that like glass headache.
It even comes down to me is like I can glass in comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can now like lean forward and glass off my knees.
Yep.
But before I'd be shaking,
Yep.
or I could feel my heartbeat because I'm that focused. But with stabilization, it cuts it down.
Yeah.
So I don't have to lean awkwardly into a tripod. You know, sometimes your body, you just want to lean back. Like I can lean back and literally have glass with one hand.
Yeah.
I can just lean
Yeah.
over my side, rest my arm on something, I'm just glassing. And
It's
it's as stable
comical.
as on a tripod.
It's comical.
Yeah.
It's
crazy
hilarious.
what you can really
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
you can, obviously, you don't want to stand on a ridge and skyline yourself,
Yeah, right.
but you can stand a lot more in glass. From
Yeah.
maybe sitting down, it's wet or there's snow.
Yeah.
I can stand, in some brush or whatever in glass.
Yeah, and I'll be completely frank with you. Like before I became completely obsessed with these, like I was like you. I was like tripod,
Best glass possible.
best glass possible, and that was like my favorite thing. And it took me a long time, even as a product manager for this category, to transition over to the ZULU6s. And like this year, I like dedicated like all of like pre-archery season, like just at the range using them. I even used them at an NRL hunter, and like it blew me away how fast I could acquire targets with that versus like the 10Ks. And I was like shocked. And I went into Broadhead League that we shoot at home at the archery range, and we had just gotten the Zulu 10s. I threw a pair of 10s in my bino harness, and like, I mean, they were in my bino harness for like a day.
Yeah, like one round.
Yeah, and I went back to the image stabilized binos because it's just like, it's once you do it and you commit to it and like actually see the benefits, it's tough to make that choice decision, whatever you want to call it. But like when you see how effective they are, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I can see that being at the archery
Yeah.
range. So many times you throw your 10s up to check your arrow
my
and you're
gosh,
shooting at
yeah.
80 or 100
Yeah.
yards. You're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really tell. I need to shoot brighter veins or
Yeah.
something. You can't tell. I could see that definitely being, you get 16 power and
Yeah.
image stabilization. You could definitely see where you're
But even like when we were just in New Mexico running the 12s, I mean, the 12s have been kind of like my sweet spot, and 16s are great for, glassing. I would say, I don't want to say big country, but I mean, bigger country, where the 12s for archery elk, I think are just the perfect sweet spot for me. And I think
Is that what you wear around your neck most of the time? 12s?
Yeah.
that's what I run.
So
yeah.
you make those in a what? A 12, a 16?
10 by 30, 12 by 42, 16 by 42, and a 20 by 42.
Okay.
So
12 by 42 then.
yeah, that's my favorite. I think Brady, you're 16.
16 fan, yeah.
I think for all around, like the 16s are great. I mean, I just happen to have the choice to use
whatever.
everything. So
Yeah.
I've kind of fallen in love with the 12s, and
Yeah.
Same.
that's kind of been my sweet spot.
It's crazy to think that I can handheld 16s because of the stabilization.
I mean, that's
So,
the
like,
other thing.
I'm picking out details that I
Yeah.
never could have picked out before. I mean, yeah, my field of view is a little bit less because it's, big zoom, big power.
Yeah.
But it's just so nice.
Do you get feedback? People get motion sickness from it? Because I spent some time looking through Brady's and I felt like I was getting a little bit of the wah-wahs.
I've heard people talk about it. There occasionally we'll have somebody say, "Oh, this is like," they come out of them and they're like, they'll be glassing and they're kind of like moving back and forth. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, just calm down.
I just wondered if it was something you get used to or if it's something that persists with folks. If you've had that feedback.
Our one of our guys there at the office, when we first started playing with target mode, he turned on target mode and it made him sick. Like, and then used it again and it was perfectly fine for him. So it was just not made him sick, but it just kind of was like he got that feeling of like motion sickness. But
I'm pretty prone to getting motion sickness, and I live behind these
Yeah.
things. I don't even remember a very like distinct or definitive, acclimation period when I started running them. It just kind of picked it up, and I was ready to rock.
yeah, and that kind of the other thing too is talking about weight, right? Brady brought it up, is like, I mean, that's a huge proponent to this, is like you're able to carry, I mean, the 12s and 16s and 20s all are the same size and they all weigh exactly the same.
So this one's the
they're
same size as the 12s?
Yeah,
Is it-
this is
Those
a
are
16.
16s.
Yeah, and they weigh 20. I think it's like 23.2 ounces. So, and those are 16s, right? So imagine if you were holding a pair of 15s, like Abbey Koenig Prism, or whatever 15s you're running. Like the weight is incredible. I mean,
And then you remove the weight of a tripod.
remove the weight of the
2
tripod.
pounds.
Like it's And they run off of a AA battery. So you get roughly, 30 hours of runtime on one AA battery. So obviously, I always recommend people to carry an extra battery with them or two, depending on what kind of hunts you're going on. But I mean, I've ran the same exact battery from archery, broadhead league all the way through our last hunt, and haven't had an issue with my battery. I think, it just depends on how much you're glassing. And they have an auto 10-minute shut off too. So if you accidentally leave them on and you throw them in your bino harness, it automatically shuts them off so it doesn't kill your battery.
Yep, this is 10 minutes. Fully, like when
10
I'm
minutes,
sitting there scanning, it's 10 minutes. I was wondering what that was. Yeah,
it used to be 5.
Yeah. I know it's
on
a
the
lot
new ones.
more.
We increased it to 10.
It's always like a goal for me to make sure I was glassing long enough to hit that time.
Hit the shut off.
If I can glass for like whatever it was, that amount of time, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I did something right.
Yeah.
Flip the switch back on again, off and on again, and now
Yeah.
I'm back and like, all right, now I'm gonna go again. So it's
Yeah.
like it's a way to ensure I'm glassing harder too,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
can use that as a gauge.
A gauge, yeah.
Nice little self timer.
I mean, it's a good
like
self timer too. If you're not seeing something, move, right? It's like, if you're not seeing something within 10 to 15 minutes, it's time to kind of move along and start glassing a different area. So
I'm trying to sell at least the trail really hard. So I know trail, you probably got some more questions.
yeah, what else?
You heard, like I said, you heard me talking.
Where's
about
your glass made?
These are actually out of China.
Okay.
So the glass itself is out of China, and these are assembled in China.
Gotcha.
Our Zulu 10s are all Japanese glass. And that's, from a price point perspective, they start at $8.99 and they go up to, I think it's like $12.99 for the 20s. So for the price, I mean, you really can't beat them. And I mean, from the new glass that we put in here, so it's got ED lenses in it, which we call HDX glass. I mean, from the old version, I mean, you use the old version. It's a big difference.
big difference right now.
And I'll be honest with you, man, like, everybody's concerned because it's, it's got a 2-axis gimbal inside it, what's it, as far as like durability and whatnot, they're durable. I mean, I drop them all the time and I beat the living crap out of them. And I mean, people keep them in their side-by-sides all season, bouncing around. One of our product managers took them on, we did a spring bear hunt in Idaho, and they were off of motorcycles and just beating the living crap out of them. And they hold up. They're IPX7 too, so they're fully waterproof. So yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Did it take you a minute to get used to like the ergonomics of it being so much more narrow in your hand?
At first, yeah.
Because when I put it in my hand, it feels weird.
Weird, yeah.
It feels weird that your hands are tighter than
Yeah.
your eyes.
I honestly find myself glassing single-handed more than anything.
Really?
Yeah, which
Just
is
throwing them up, huh?
yeah.
I'm like a big finger on the brim guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work
Yeah.
as well with
Yeah.
these, that's like my one downside. But I feel like maybe it's placebo. I'm finger on the brim for stability on a traditional pair of binos. Whether or not it actually helps, I think could be argued. But it took me a little while to kind of like get used to that on the ergo side of things, which is, super minimal in the grand scheme.
It's also pretty unique how you can adjust it for your, the width of your eyes.
Yeah.
Like it's a very different style.
When people grab them and they try to adjust their IPD, it's funny to watch.
Oh yeah.
But then when you show them, they're like, oh, all right, I get
I
it.
think they're gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look different than anything else out there. You look at them right
Oh, yeah.
away, you're like, really?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had a friend in here yesterday who's a guide here in Nevada, and he's like, I want to put this up my eyes. He puts them up my eyes, and like you're saying, like that instant thing when they flip that switch, they're like, oh, what?
Yeah.
But they just did that. Like it's cool to experience that with someone for the first time.
Yeah,
It's a game changer.
This is something, as far as this category goes, I mean, for the image stabilized binos specifically, this is a category that we're going to be expanding upon, for the foreseeable future. I think we'll be.
Where do you see it going?
I
Larger
think
objectives?
Larger objectives for sure.
For more light?
Yeah, I think that's definitely in the horizon. We're working on a marine side of our product line too. I mean, they're already IPX7, so from that perspective, they're already treated for, being waterproof. But yeah, we're working on a couple different marine specific SKUs and different colors, different cases, floatable neck straps and whatnot. And then, looking to expand in some larger objectives in the future. So
What are
next
people
year.
using them for in the marine side?
It's all over the place. I think, I don't know if it's actually true, but I heard somebody told me that every boat, like if it's a commercial boat, I believe that's true from a commercial side. They actually have to carry a pair of binoculars with them. But one of the guys that I got a pair into his hands, he's using it as a commercial fishing guide, and he's using it to check out other boats and what kind of bait they're using and what's
nice.
working. I mean,
He's a sport fishing guy.
sport
fishing
not
guide.
commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So sport fishing guide, and he's able to glass other boats up and see what they're using and seeing what's working, if something
There we
they're not
go.
doing isn't working, and being able to glass up bait balls too. I mean, there's a huge, I think, as far as use case from a marine side, there's that. I mean, on our side, from talking about Kodiak, hunting black bears on Kodiak, like,
Yeah.
I mean, being able to glass off boats, or anything basically from that point of view, is being able to glass off a boat. So I think the use case from that perspective is, could be hunting, could be fishing, could be birding, and you name it. There's so many uses for it.
When do you push somebody to a more traditional style of binocular versus the image stabilization binos?
I think it's, if somebody's got their mind set on, like, I want the best glass out there. I don't want any technology built into it. I just want clean glass, and I want the best optics I can get. That's kind of where I'll push them into a Zulu 10.
Like
So
you,
you say the glass is
like
better.
you. This is for
Would you
you.
say the glass is better in these?
Oh,
than,
yeah.
than
Yeah.
these?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Yeah, I think, yeah. So I mean, this is Japanese glass. It's an abiconing prism. Like, yeah. As far as glass goes, this will hands down beat that just glassing straight. Like, if I'm on a tripod on with a 15 by 56 versus a 16 by 42, like, low light conditions, the Zulu 10s will beat the Zulu 6s.
Do you foresee the glass getting better in these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's. I mean, I think ultimately it's just chipping away.
Natural progression.
Yeah, natural progression, and how good we can get it. And I mean, I would love to say next year we'll have Zulu 10 glass in the Zulu 6, but in reality, probably not going to happen. But we'll definitely continue to push the boundaries and figure out where we can go there.
Gotcha.
So
I think people talk glass a lot, and so much of what makes binos perform is the prism.
yeah.
Too, and it gets overlooked. So these being Abbey Koenig, I think Schmidt Pekin is kind of like the next step down. Getting into the science of like what makes an Abbey Koenig prism do what it does versus the competition is pretty interesting as well. And I think, I don't know the intricacies of like ZULU6 and the image stabilized stuff and whether or not there's ever a chance that you'd see an Abbey Koenig in something like that. But
So,
I think that's
and
could be a big driver.
And going down that rabbit hole too, like, do you guys know the difference in the prisms? So there's what makes the abiconing prism so great is the amount of reflections that when light passes through the objective, it bounces off the prism X amount of times and then goes into your eye. So abiconing prism has now I'm blanking.
I think it's like three or four.
I think it's 3 reflections, and then the standard roof prism has 6 or 7 reflections. Totally blanking right now, but so you're basically getting less reflections of light on an abiconing prism. So you're losing less light transmission there. So that is also what drives the size of the abiconing prism. So the abiconing prism is larger than a standard roof prism, which is why abiconing binos weigh a lot more, or not a lot more, but a decent amount more, and they're a larger form factor as well. So like, if you were to look at these compared to a Zulu 8, you're probably size wise, lengthwise maybe 1.5 to 2 inches smaller. So much more compact than an abiconing prism. So
Very interesting.
yeah. So it's something a lot of people don't understand too, is like what drives the size of those and the weight. But that's the background of that.
I think that really makes sense.
Lenses are important.
Yeah.
I'm not trying
Lenses
to undersell
good lens, good glass,
the quality of glass, but a lot of people overlook the performance and what your prisms are really doing for you.
And then you've got coatings, and you've got every company has their own coatings and marketing terms for every coating that they have. It's there's a lot that goes into them. But yeah, as far as like if you're looking for the best quality glass and abiconing prism, and you're going to be sitting down and glassing off a tripod, 100% Zulu 10s all day long. So, like I said, I carry 15 by 56s in a tripod if I want to sit down and pick terrain apart.
Yeah, landscape.
If I just want a speed glass and I'm on the move constantly, 16 by 42s are kind of the way to go. And then the 20 by 42s, I mean, that's another tool too. Is like, now I've dropped a spotter almost. You know, it's like I don't need a spotter now. I can sit there and, you know, throw on image stabilization, get behind 20s and glass that way too. So
You mentioned coatings and stuff like that. Like, what are your recommendations for like cleaning glass? Yeah. It's like I'm always so nervous when I put anything on there, a brush, a lens cloth.
I have a lens pen, and I just, you know, if I have dust on the lens, I'll use the brush side, clean it off good, and then usually those lens pad have, you know, or the lens pin has a little pad on the other end, and I just use that to clean it off. And if there's any large debris on it, obviously I'll clean it a little bit different. But yeah, it's really the brush to get all the big debris off of it, and then, you know, a lens cloth or, you know, the pad on the end of a lens pin usually is a trick for me. But the biggest thing is getting all that debris off of it. You know, everybody says their lenses are scratch proof and all this stuff, but if there's a big enough piece of debris in there, they'll get pretty torn up. So
I heard Porter's real bad for that. Just rubbing just whatever it is he's got in his hand on the lenses. Just give it
big
a
old
good,
thick wool jacket. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna rub that in
just
there.
rub those lenses.
yeah,
I've heard rumor. I don't know if I've seen it, but I've heard rumor.
I've put some pretty good gouges in my binos in the day.
I'm staying quiet by choice right now.
I've seen his binos now.
Yours are bad?
Yeah, mine are bad.
I used to be really bad, and then, you know, Cody Nelson.
Yeah.
He saw some of my binos. He's like, Brady, we're gonna have to have a discussion here about, you know, keeping a tight ship, and cleaning all your.
Dude, I don't
optics
touch
always.
mine unless it's like cleaning time.
Now I start to freak
brush.
out now.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in camp at night, like
Yeah.
I was just doing this weekend,
Yeah.
I was cleaning my optics in camp when it was dark out, you know, just going through it. But like, yeah, I have my own method. I was just wondering.
If you stay on top of it with a brush, I mean, you'd be surprised how clean you can keep them.
Yeah, I always try to avoid like doing the old like with your like mouth and getting all that debris because you're, you know, spitting food particles or whatever it could be in the air. Like who knows what you got?
Mule deer burger particles.
Basmati rice.
Basmati rice.
tortilla.
Black beans.
I like how he always says, "What is it before the rice? What kind of rice?"
Basmati.
Basmati.
It's good rice.
Basmati.
It's good
I like
rice.
that you
It's a
always
good choice of rice.
I like that you
Yeah.
include that every time rather than just rice.
Jasmine. Jasmine's also
Uncle
really
Ben's?
good one.
Jasmine's good.
Really cool. I
Jasmine's
like
good.
high quality rice.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben's, quick.
No.
I use
Food is
Uncle Ben's.
food is fuel, and I want to fuel my body to perform the best it can be.
What kind of tortillas you getting? Just regular.
I have
old-
they're called like Mexican or New Mexico something, but they're from New Mexico. They're flour tortillas. I know they're Mexico.
There
I
you
even
go.
showed Ryan Gentry when we were
put
hunting
them
in
in
New
the
Mexico. I was like,
fridge?
hey, you proud of me? I got New Mexico style tortillas. And he's like, oh yeah, that's
Do you have
good.
to put them in the fridge?
I started recently putting them in the fridge, but I used to never do it. I don't know why I started throwing them in the fridge.
They were a little ripe
Are
when
they
you get
supposed to be in
home.
the fridge? But I started throwing them in there. I don't know if it's right or wrong.
Gotcha.
My son is a quesadilla connoisseur.
Oh, mine too.
It's out of control.
Yeah, most days. What do you want for
It's-
dinner? Chicken or not even chicken, cheese quesadilla.
Just a quesadilla.
Yeah.
It's crazy how many quesadillas we go through in our house.
Do you ever
Or
buy the raw
tortillas.
ones like at Walmart? You
No.
throw them on a bread. Those are the best.
No.
Wait, what?
They're
don't even
uncooked. You know?
What are these?
They're just like tortillas. You can buy them at a grocery store.
Oh,
but they're-
raw tortillas.
Yeah, raw tortillas.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a raw
Yeah, I thought there was like
quesadilla. I was
Yeah.
like,
pre-made
what's
raw.
raw quesadilla?
I get raw
tortillas, just the raw
Jeez.
tortilla.
I was like, that's right up
I
to
was
the
like,
Lord's
this is
alley
like
right there.
an Uncrustable. This is like an
You guys haven't heard
untapped-
about it. Yeah, Uncrustables.
Yeah, Uncrustables. Oh, those are
So
my
give me.
favorite.
I want to run through a hunt scenario. You're a rosy guy.
Yeah.
What are you taking? Like, what's your setup look like for a hunt like that?
So
And
I've
why?
been running 12s heavy.
Even though close proximity, most of the stuff you're going to see is close.
Yeah, 100%.
So the Zulus, the image
Yeah, I'm running the stabilized. Prior to that, it was like just standard 10 by 42s. But, depending on how you hunt the coast, there are opportunities to get out and like see our big country, which would be like glass and clear cuts in the morning, kind of seeing where bulls are feeding. And that's generally going to be like a mile. At the most really is all you can see there. And so those 12s have been great. And outside of that, like so much of Roosevelt hunting for me is just it's audible. You know, it's sounds. I'm listening for a stick to pop or whatever. And beyond that, look at the map, kind of figure out where that thing's going to be hanging out. So I'm not glassing a ton. You know, sometimes if a bull hangs up and it's super thick, and I know I'm within like 100, 120, I'll pop the 12s out and try and pick stuff apart and see if I can catch a top or something twisting as he's just standing there locked up.
Gotcha.
So,
and then a rangefinder?
Rangefinder, I'm overgunned. I'm running the 8K, and I just run one rangefinder for everything. It's got my rifle dope in it. It's got my archery dope in it. I use it for all of my hunts. I think if I were to maybe do it over again or add something, I'd probably go down to like a 5K because the fire up time on it is a little quicker. There's like almost a little video game intro on the 8K real fast, and so I've gotten in the habit of like.
Is it like my Samsung dryer that when it's done, it like
you can turn it off.
Plays a little tune.
Dude, I'm lazy. I just got in the habit of clicking the button as soon as it's coming out of my pouch, and then I'm clicking the button once I'm on.
He's new.
That's what I was wondering. Is like how user friendly are these to set up?
They're
They're easy, man.
Once you go through it and like, I mean, you got the power user over here. He knows every setting.
Battery saver mode.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Bluetooth,
battery saver
Bluetooth
mode,
off when I'm in the mountains.
fog modes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's some pretty trick stuff.
What does your Bluetooth mode do for you?
Just sync it with my phone.
syncs to your phone.
Like once I'm in the
Oh,
field, I
yeah.
don't
You
really
do it once.
Yeah.
So, like,
the only other benefit though, I'll keep Bluetooth on is if I'm with my dad and I want to hand him my phone to do the heads up display.
Yep.
So he can actually see exactly what I'm ranging and the yardage, and he can visually see it on there. And sometimes it's nice just to look at that.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can see the degree you're facing, all the yardages, all the atmospheric conditions. Heads up display is great.
So he doesn't see your reticle, he just sees your range, right?
He'll be able to see it on the screen, just all the yardages,
Wind direction, speed.
It's all the stuff you can
Density,
see
altitude.
in the
All you can see in
rangefinder.
your viewfinder,
Yeah.
he sees on your phone.
So he can sit back too and run like my Kestrel. He can grab some of the wind at the shooter. Obviously, I still need to figure out where the wind is at the target as well. But he can start plugging some of that in for me, and it can sync it to my rangefinder. So while I'm over here ranging, he's like, "Oh, Brady, wind increases now it's 10.
Is
now
it
it's
real
15."
time?
No, he can
You
punch
plug
it in and
real
Bluetooth
time.
it. Yeah.
And you can do it through the HUD or you can do it through the quick wind menu too. So like the 8K and 10Ks have quick wind. So you hold the range and mode button down, and then it brings in the quick wind menu, and you can adjust your speed and direction based right in there. So for like NRL hunter stuff, like obviously hunting is a huge thing, but for like NRL hunter, you're like on a clock. You know, you have 4 minutes to get through all your targets and range your targets, collect data, and if the wind's shifting up there, you need to re-input your wind because that'll play a huge effect on your on your impacts. So being able to do that's huge, but you can do it in the rangefinder, you can do it in the HUD. You can control what you display in your actual rangefinder too. So if you don't want all that information displayed, you can actually, in the 8Ks and 10Ks, you can cut down what you actually see in that window, and then in the HUD you get all that information.
So in that situation, would your dad have the rangefinder? Because I can see it working that way, where
can do
your
that too.
where
You can
your
do it
hunting
too,
partner, because at that point you're in the gun.
Yep.
You lay your phone right here by you if you're prone, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's making the range. You're looking down at your phone, which is a larger screen. It's giving you the
You can do it
range.
exact way.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that working
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
slick.
And then all I have to do is do the corrections on my
Yeah.
scope.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and then as far as like, as far as atmospheric, input, you can do it automatically, and it'll collect it. I think it's every 10 minutes it collects the data on the rangefinder, or you can do a manual input, and it'll pull anything. It'll pull it from the nearest, like not
Weather
cell tower,
station.
but weather station in the area, and it'll download it to your into your app, and then it'll directly communicate that into your rangefinder as well.
So you recommend having a rangefinder sit out next to you in the same conditions you're going to shoot for roughly 10 minutes?
Yeah.
But most of the time,
yeah.
it's going to be out there anyway. if
Yeah,
you're
in
on
a
the bike hunt.
rangefinder pouch, it's not bad. But
Yeah.
if you have like hot hands in your pocket and you have your rangefinder in your pocket,
Old Brady hot hands.
yeah.
My hands are always cold. That's why people
what
on
the
people on
ladies say,
YouTube the other
Cody
day made
Moore.
fun of me for carrying I carried 3 pairs of gloves. Systems to Alaska, but only had 1 pair of socks and underwear. I was like, well, my hands just get cold. Those other things just don't matter. My hands got cold. My gloves have a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not Mr. Sweaty Hands.
Yeah.
Cold hands.
Hot hands, I said. Brady hot hands.
Brady hot hands.
Yeah. Yeah, I love being able to see all that stuff on there. Like I said, I'm kind of a power user. I love seeing DA on there. I love seeing impact velocity. I love all that stuff on there. Like even the range signal, like all that stuff.
Yeah. So to set it up for archery mode, it's pretty sick, pretty easy.
Super easy.
Yeah, you literally go into archery mode on the rangefinder. We're working on it to bring it into the HUD, but right now it's only in the actual rangefinder. But you go to archery mode, which is arch mode in the rangefinder, just due to the characters it can display on the 5Ks and below. And you basically go in there, hit archery mode, and then enter your bow speed. Obviously, you got to have a chrono to get your bow speed, and then enter that in, and
away you go.
Off to the races.
And it just stays in that mode?
It stays in that mode, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Can you explain, do you know the difference between the applied ballistics ultralight and then the elite? I know some of the rangefinders have ultralight, some of them have elite.
So I know you guys are the bino guys, but we got a lot of rangefinder questions.
Yeah. Beam diversions, that's space boy. But so applied ballistics elite versus ultralight. So ultralight is in the, I would say, 5K and lower rangefinders that actually have ultralight in it. Applied ballistics elite lives in the 8K and 10K. So basically what that allows, the elite in layman terms is basically giving you data to a certain range. So the applied ballistics light, ultralight, gives you a data solution out to, I think it's 850 yards.
I think that sounds right.
And then the elite will give you a range out to however far you can range. So if you want to go shoot 2 miles, you can
it gives me a dope data at 2 miles. Yeah,
exactly. So that's kind of in layman terms, that's kind of the big differences in the actual app itself. What you can input from a user side as far as ballistics go, it's a little bit more in depth on that side with applied ballistics elite. Like, you're putting in your twist rate for your barrel. You can get a little bit, you can nerd out more on your reloading. And then on the light, it's kind of more just geared towards I don't want to say basic user, but it gives you all the tools that you need to get good data.
Yeah, it's basically like an easy mode in a way. Yeah.
And I mean, there's all sorts of things. I mean, you can true your data. I don't know if you've messed with that yet. I'm sure you have, but you can do data true.
Temp tables.
Yeah. There's so much stuff you can do. And it's, I mean, the tool is as good as the user, right? And it's like, if you know all that stuff and you know how to go in and adjust all that, I mean, you're unstoppable.
Yeah. Again, though, like Trail saying how easy it is very easy, but again, it's like setting up anything like Archer's Advantage or whatever for a bow. Garbage in is garbage out. So when you're getting really advanced, just make sure you're entering the right information in there, truing your velocity, entering the correct sight height, all that stuff.
Sight height's a big one. Truing your velocity, I would highly recommend doing that 500 yards and out. The rangefinder won't even allow you to true your velocity from, I think it's under 300 yards. But you want to get a good true at like 500, 600 yards. And that'll give you it'll give you a really good data set. And
that's why I love that you guys work with applied ballistics. Like, I'm a big fan of applied ballistics, Brian Litz, like all that. Like,
and there's,
you want to talk to a geek?
I mean,
very smart.
There's like 5 other companies that do it. I'm kind of partial to applied ballistics, so that's what we use, and I've had great results with it. And everything I've shot with applied ballistics has been money. If you, like you said, garbage in is garbage out, but if you put the right data set in there, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think it's super easy. I'm the testament of this. Like, it's so easy. You don't have to take it this far. Like, I think that's the beauty of this app and this, like, the dynamic between the products that we do is if you want to take this thing to the nth degree, you can. If you're the kind of guy like myself that picks up a rifle like once a year and still wants to be very proficient and know what you're doing and feel confident in the data that you're getting and giving, you can still do that. You can choose your own adventure with this stuff, all with the same product. Like, we can run the same rangefinder and you can take this thing to the moon and I can hang out in like mortal land with it and still be very proficient and confident in my rifle setup.
Should we jump into the one fun question, Trail?
I was going there. Go ahead. You want me to run with that?
No, I got her. Where do you think technology could be going? Are we going to ever cross a line on any of this technology in a whole? It's not just optic, but hunting technology maybe in general as a whole. Is there ever a point where you think, obviously with optics and stuff like that, and even like GPS apps, like you still have to be out in the field to be able to do it. But like,
when you say crossing a line, are you meaning like
I would just say personally, how do you feel? Because you said a couple times that it's technology, right? Hunting technology. Like for you ethically, is there I mean, is anything that you would see? How do you feel about it ethically? I mean, image stabilizing binoculars, is it too much? Is it too much that your MOA, your dope Bluetooth to your phone or to your scope, move your reticle if you would?
Yeah.
Like, what point for you? Is there a point? Just curious. How do you feel about it personally?
Personally, I feel that, like, honestly, when we're giving the user who maybe, like Troy's saying, like, I take my rifle out once a year to shoot. He's getting ready for bear season. He's getting out shooting and then going out on a hunt. And not to just put that on him, but a lot of people do that. A lot of people, take their guns, bows out of, their safe or out of their garage or whatever, and they're going out on a hunt.
It's one of my favorite things to do is go to run to my local Walmart like the day or two before the opener of the bow hunt just to check it out. It's good, good watching to see what people are buying.
I personally think, there's two parts to that, right? It's like we are giving people the tools to be a more ethical hunter in that sense of, like, actually going out in the field and having gear that is, it's technologically advanced, but it's helping people make the right shots and having the right, I'd say, data set where they're not wounding animals and, they're ethically killing animals. Now, there's the other side to it is, like, too much technology is too much. I don't know. I don't have the answer there. But I will say, from, like, talking to a lot of people and being in this industry, is, like, a lot of people don't take their gun out, to shoot.
Due diligence.
To do their due diligence on going on a hunt and, killing said animal. It's like, wounding the animal because they didn't have the right data or they didn't have a true zero on their gun or whatever it may be. So I think technology is helping certain people. I think the image stabilized binos, I don't know. Glassing is our only advantage.
Yeah, it really is.
So, I've got a different perspective on it. I wrestle with this. Like, this is a great question. I think that, like, putting my brand hat on, at the end of the day, it's like on us in our seats in the industry to be kind of the ones that influence people to stay within their means in a good way. And, like, yes, this technology totally gives somebody the ability to stretch their effective range and what their effective range should be in certain environments. We should take onus and ownership of the fact that, like, we can influence the message and push the message that you can use this technology responsibly and do it in a way that still keeps you in the parameters of what I would consider ethical. But it is tricky. Like, I don't know where that line is yet. I think it's kind of a feel thing at times. I can't sit here and just, like, point out, a million different things that I don't do or don't agree with. It's the kind of thing that I think you experience or you see firsthand and say, like, okay, I think that was over the line. Like, that's too far.
That's the funny thing about the discussion. We've had it with a bunch of different people that we've had on the podcast, but it's like, I can't really say what my value, my ethic is yours, and that yours is mine, nor that it should be or could be. I mean, it's just, I mean, there are certain things that are hard lines, poaching, hard line, you know what I mean? Season dates, all that things. I think there are definitely hard lines, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, I mean, technology, it's kind of some gray area. It's
a blurry line.
Yeah, it's a blurry line, and I think a lot of it's individual, I mean, there's definitely things that personally I don't agree with, but then who's to say that my value is your value and that my value has to be your value? If it's not, like, black and white as delineated within a game and fish regulation book, or that it's, directly equated to negatively impacting populations or conservation, if it's not that, then I don't, it's hard to say. It's always curious.
Strange, because, like, again, like, I don't spend a ton of time behind a rifle. I just don't.
Yeah, nor do I.
Big archery guy, and so I know that I could take my rifle out of the case and run our dope and put a bullet on a gong at 800, 1,000 yards.
Is that?
Am I ever going to do that? That's not my effective range, And so I think, I sit in bed a lot too, kind of thinking about these things. Like, I have a movable sight on my bow, Again, not that I'm flinging 120 yard shots with it, but it's like, is that too much technology? You know, like
Yeah.
is more than 6 pins enough?
Yeah. I even had a guy once on a video we did back in the day where I was bow hunting, and he called me like a really horrible bow hunter because he's like, you rely too much on your rangefinder to get a range on the animal. You need to use your internal rangefinder in your head to just draw back and send an arrow. So I don't respond to a lot of comments.
Yeah, but you responded.
I'm like, so you'd be the same person, opposite side of it. If I did not use my rangefinder, so I mean, not using it, I go send an arrow and I wound said animal, you'd be like, what the F, Brady?
Yeah.
You know, you're being unethical about not using a tool that you have available.
Yeah.
But to me, I owe it to that animal to do everything right to make the perfect shot, whether it's a bow or rifle. So that's why on that film, I kept ranging, adjusting at a single pin sight. I had to keep constantly adjusting it, try to draw back. Oh, the deer moved, let down, rearrange. Like that's just what I wanted to do to make the perfect shot. Sure, anyone else could have just flung an arrow and held over or held lower, like whatever. But it's like, no, I have this tool here that can range it perfectly.
Yep.
I want to make the best shot possible, whether it was on camera or not on camera. Like I owe it to an animal. Same thing with a rifle. Like, yeah, I have the tools to make a far shot, but I know where my limitation is because I practice all the time.
Well, it's personal limitations and it's gear limitations too.
Yeah.
Like, I
And
mean,
so like it's just going to make me a more well-rounded person having some extra things and knowing how to use them in this hunting situation. But I don't think anything is crossing any sort of moral boundaries that I have or whatever, because I know how to use the tool and know when not to use a tool.
Yeah, and we have one of the things that we have too, we didn't even touch on it, but BDX too is like, our app is called BDX, but another technology that we have is, it's called BDX 2.0, and basically it's our rangefinder pairing with a rifle scope. And so basically it takes all the, I would say, work out of having to know how to dial properly, and you basically range, you Bluetooth it to your rifle scope, you get your zero and all that, you enter in all your ballistic data, and you're ranging, and on your rifle scope in your reticle, it's dropping a red dot to where your aiming point is now. So what's that?
For your vertical.
For your holdover. So it basically takes all the guesswork out, and it's great for kids, new shooters, new hunters.
Me.
It's great, but it's also due to certain fish and game regulations.
Sure.
It's illegal in certain states to use, but it's a great tool for people that are new into this world that don't want to dial, and it's like, you've got holdovers in a rifle scope and a reticle, but if you don't know how to use those properly in the moment, you get nervous and you accidentally count the wrong line, and now you shot over the animal or wounded the animal, whatever. It's like the BDX system does all that guesswork for you, and it drops a dot right on your reticle, and boom, that's your aiming point. Hold that dot on the animal, pull the trigger. But it's it's just one of those things where it's certain
blurry line.
states.
Like it's awesome for the like the kid or the new hunter or whatever to make an awesome, clean, ethical
Guides,
shot within their
outfitters.
effective range. Guides and outfitters use them a lot to ensure that like they're providing a rifle or equipment that they know
is
their
dialed.
client is going to like make an impact with. Awesome for that scenario. The guy that shouldn't shoot past 300 yards and now has a dot dropped on his axis at 850, like not awesome, So it's
Pretty tempting.
Yeah.
That's the thing about, I talked to Brady. I've seen Brady shoot. I talked to a lot of guys that like long range shooting, and I think so many people think that it's 90% the gun and 10% the guy, right? And I don't know that that's the case. I think a lot of people just don't have. I don't have the personal skill. It's just like shooting a bow. I mean, it's like your form, your draw length, your grip. The pressure on your release, the way you activate the release. There's so much that goes into that. It's not just simply, mostly the bow.
Right.
There's a lot of it that is the rifle, regardless of what kind of technology you've got built into it.
Everything you just said can relate to something with shooting a rifle.
Sure.
It's grip pressure. I mean, you name it. Everything you just said has a relation into shooting a rifle too. And like when you get into long range shooting, especially the guys like top shooters, man, you get out there and you shoot with them and you're like, holy cow.
But I don't think most people think that. I think a lot of people, most people are like me. They probably think, most of it's just the gun.
Oh yeah.
You get the gun, the gun's dialed.
Yeah.
The scope does its thing. It's Bluetooth. You get the reticle, 1,000 yards, never shot one, bang.
Yeah. It's not
I don't
that
think
easy.
that's the case.
No.
So
I mean, look at the amount of work that you put in. I mean, during the off season, developing.
I'm constantly going to the range.
Yeah, I mean, you're constantly at the range. You're constantly the shooting portion is one thing, but getting your rifle set up, you're bedding your stocks. Like, I mean, there's so many variables there that like it's long range shooting it's a whole other can of worms, and it's like being proficient with your bow is the same aspect of being proficient with long range shooting. And I like both, and I love shooting my bow and I love shooting my rifle, and I love long range shooting. Like, I love it. It's a blast, and there's so many different variables.
No
that go
pun
into
intended.
it. It's a blast.
I think this comes down to like people don't see the work that certain people do to be proficient in the weapon. Like I know Trail shoots his bow every day because I talk to him, and he does shoot his bow every day, so he's very proficient in it. No one sees someone who, like me, sitting next to my TV downstairs, dry firing my rifle.
Yeah.
Like literally sitting downstairs,
Don't
dry
dry fire
firing,
your
like laying down on the ground, dry firing it,
I just
putting a
puckered
quarter
a
on my
little bit.
brake to make sure that thing stays on there every time I dry fire it. Like no one sees all that.
I have a barricade built in my garage, and I have a system that has a aperture. It's like an aperture stop that basically takes my objective lens down, and I have targets printed on my garage wall, and I sit in there and dry fire during competition season. I'm on a barricade, and I'll turn a clock on. I'll have my pack on like I'm getting ready for a stage. If you watch me in my garage, you'd be like, what in the hell is this guy doing? But it's just like,
So you're out in your garage dry firing your rifle into a
little small
it's
target
like
on the wall.
It's an 11 by 17 paper, and it's basically like a range.
In Oregon, you're doing this?
Yeah.
Are you on a no-fly list?
Probably. No fly list.
Somebody would report you if they saw you in your garage.
he's on the Portland watch list.
I'm just
for
imagining you being in Oregon in your garage.
I shoot my bow in my backyard, and I dry fire my rifle in my garage.
Just kidding.
But see, it's like you're putting in the extra work required. It's not necessary, but for what you're trying to do.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, if I showed up to a match and didn't put in that practice, it would immediately reflect the results that I walked away with on Sunday. So I mean, it's just being proficient in your activity, whether that's hunting, everything, your daily life.
You never hear anybody talk about that. At least I don't. Maybe I'm just out of the
Not
loop or out of the
sexy.
circle. But yeah,
Not
that?
sexy.
Yeah, that's why
Just
no one
what you're
posts any
saying.
pictures of it or video doing it. It's
Yeah.
like you're sitting there dry firing.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's,
Just mental focus.
yeah.
Everybody posts a picture of their bow out shooting.
Yeah.
It's just sexier, I guess.
True.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for indoor season. I'm in my backyard shooting 20 yards and just
Yeah.
launching arrows.
You got an indoor rig set up?
Yeah,
Do
for
you?
the first time ever.
Do you?
Yeah. It's,
What are you shooting?
What do I have? I don't even know. It's a
You know, kind of
PSC
Supra?
Super focus. Yeah, Supra.
Supra 40.
Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, my one of the guys that was
Long
at
bars?
Sig-
The
Oh
whole-
yeah,
That's pretty fun, huh?
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty fun to tinker with.
He's
dry
like
fired
never
it.
shot. Oh yeah, you did dry
I did
fire.
dry fire it.
Like right as
It
you
was
got it.
a bummer.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
We were like at the range at lunch, and I was bullshitting with my buddy and the guy that just built me strings for my bow, and just gabbing, just having a good time. And I just got this bow set up, and I was just shooting lights out with this thing, and get up to we were shooting 3D, and it was like the fourth target or something like that, and we're just talking, and draw back, and
No arrow, huh?
I was like, oh, that didn't sound right.
Yep.
Yeah, first time I'd ever done it.
I've done that one time. Yeah.
One time.
Same thing, just in the zone,
Yeah.
focusing, working, been shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, bow just dry fired. And I was like, what the hell? I even count my arrows, and you go up and check the target and you're like, oh yeah, I just didn't load an arrow.
Yeah, it happens.
He
kinda
also
fun, though.
he hasn't shot a long axle to axle. He's always been a pretty short axle to axle guy. I love longer bows, and when he got that thing, you were like called me.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, this thing is
Oh my
so
gosh.
forgiving.
Yeah.
It feels so good. I'm like, yeah, welcome to anything over 32 inches.
Yeah.
You put a long stabilizer on there too. It's very.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, wait a minute.
I don't even know how long the
It
stabilizer is,
just
dude.
sits
It's-
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put a 30-inch front
Yeah.
bar and 12, 15 out back,
I
and
think
it's
that's-
all weighted
yeah.
up, and it just sits there. It's almost it almost shows you how much target panic you have because it just sits.
Yeah.
You're like,
For
wait
sure.
a minute, go off.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
It's a blast though. Yeah, I'm gonna go into the indoor season this year and see.
You gonna shoot Vegas?
No.
Come on,
I say that.
come
and
down,
I'll probably
shoot
be
flights.
here.
You
I'll
ever
probably
been-
be here. No.
I've never shot it,
No.
but I go to it all the time. It's
Yeah.
fun to go watch for
Will you
sure.
shoot it this year if I shoot it?
I don't know if I'm
wanna
going
make a
to
bet
be
right now?
here. I would if we were around. I think it's the same week as we're going to be gone to
On the Mexicans.
Mexicans.
That hunt giveaway.
Now we
was
got the
good.
West-
These are the
Hunt
kind of
Expo.
stupid bets I make.
You know, every year
it's
it's been the same.
tattoos.
I would go. It's yeah.
Be
Loser gets
really
tattooed.
careful here, Trail. Be really
I like
careful
tattoos.
here. Not the ones you're coming up with.
Always tired.
Always tired.
Always tired.
That's the one I need.
All right, so we
No,
had
that would be fun.
yeah. So man, that would be actually pretty fun. High score. Be
Fun,
high score
yeah,
or low
we-
score
we-
against
we-
tattoo. You want to make it spicy?
Both get tattoos. The one's just worse than the other.
So we were just in New Mexico, and I think it was day 2 we started talking about. So Trent from Born and Raised,
Love the dude.
love the
Shout
dude,
out Trent.
amazing guy. So we're out there, it's me, Troy, Trent, Steve, and Noah, their camera guy, and then Justin,
Our freelancer.
our freelancer. And so we're, day 1,
Cocky.
first. What's that?
Cocky. We killed the first bull we heard.
Yeah,
And
first bull we heard. Steve, we both go in there. Steve and I are set up 30 yards apart. Bull just comes on a beeline straight down to Steve. Bull cuts to the right. I'm thinking, like, nobody heard Steve's bow go off at all. Like, nobody heard a thing. This bull's coming right at me. I'm getting ready to cow call it and stop it. And I go to full draw. And then all of a sudden, I see this thing just pouring blood out. I was like, oh, that thing's shot. Time to let down.
You had no idea.
No,
none of us did.
In the
like,
moment.
nobody knew. Like, nobody heard.
Trent and I were 40 yards
Yeah.
behind calling, and I didn't hear the bow go up. I thought
Yeah.
the bull was spooked, because everybody starts cow calling super
Yeah.
quick. Bull's crashing through the timber, and
Yeah.
I saw him running towards you and Justin on the
Yeah.
right hand side, but
Yeah, he comes by.
he
and
was
he's
dead
just
on his feet.
dumping blood out. I was like 18, 20 yard frontal shot, and freaking thing was just pumping blood. Goes like 40 yards and just dies. Just falls over right there in front of us. So we get back to camp, and so we're feeling pretty cocky at that point. So we're like, all right, let's make a bet. Trent's talking about his obsession with dragons. Also, okay. So this is kind of where it all begins.
dragon guy.
dragon guy.
Big dragon guy.
dragon
He seems
guy.
like he'd be a guy being
Yeah.
into big.
So
Yeah.
so we started talking about dragons and like his belief in dragons, and we talk about aliens, Bigfoot, and something else went in there too.
I
But
love the random conversations that Trent
dude,
comes up with.
it was
in the
Yeah.
mountains.
we did a podcast that night, and it was probably the best podcast ever. We just talked about dragons, aliens, and Bigfoot, and some other weird stuff too. But so we made a bet that if first it started with a 3.
We started pretty high. I think
You
it was
started-
like 360.
Was it 3? Well, that was
Maybe
really high.
340.
Okay, I think it was like 340. We said dragon tattoos.
All around.
Everybody.
All around.
Everybody in camp. 6 guys had to get dragon tattoos, but Trent had to get a dragon tramp stamp tattoo.
Oh yeah.
And then we got down to day, I think it was like, we had like 2 or 3 days left. And then we were like, all right, if we shoot a 320, 330 bull, still getting dragon tattoos, but if we shoot a 340 bull, Trent's getting a tramp stamp dragon tattoo and a diamond earring. And his choice of ears.
By the end of the trip,
It
it
didn't
was
happen?
like a
No,
cow.
it didn't happen. No,
If we'll shoot a
no.
cow
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a dragon tattoo.
Dragon
at
tattoo
this
was a
point.
cow at that point.
Trent really
but-
wants a dragon tattoo.
He
Sounds
does.
like
He does.
he's
He
been
played
getting
it
new
off
tattoos.
like he
Him and
didn't,
Steve both,
but-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
Yeah, we're gonna get
Yeah.
it.
Moral of the story is watch out when you're betting with
Anthony.
over here.
Yeah.
Dragon tattoos. Sounds like.
Yeah.
Yep. That group chat now has gone from like pictures of bulls to like
Season's over. Dragons.
season's over. It's just dragon tattoo designs is all that group chat is.
Trent's
right now.
was very like, his was very like, what's that show that was on HBO? with
Game of
all the-
Thrones.
Yeah, Game
Yeah,
of Thrones.
yeah,
His dragon comes from Game of Thrones.
course.
And I was like, bro. I was
pretty
like,
aggressive.
now we're going to go cartoon dragons, dude. This dragon.
Anthony's
this,
trending more like Pokemon.
yeah, Pokemon dragons
yeah.
with antlers.
Yeah.
Trends
Yeah.
is like
Oh,
yeah. So
Like a Pokemon dragon with like an elk rack.
Yeah,
I think that'd be pretty tight.
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Those guys have been
Pretty
getting
tight.
some new ink. It looked like Steve got some new tattoos.
Yeah.
Looks like
Yeah.
Trent's got some.
Yeah.
Still filling
Yeah.
it in.
So
Yeah.
we're just trying to help him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's looking for an
Yeah.
opportunity. It sounds like.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That would have been my first. That would have been a tough one to explain. You know,
It really would be.
like my first
I don't
tattoo.
think but the story behind it, dude. I think like the story behind it, I don't think
Yeah.
it'd be tough. You just be like, oh yeah, let me tell you about this one.
Yeah.
Hunting with those guys is fun, man.
Oh, it's a blast, man.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
They're like some of those guys. I wish that they were, and I wish September lasted all year long, you know, and you had more opportunity to hunt with more guys, because the times that we hunted with them was just such a good time. Just funny dudes.
Yeah, we spend a good amount of time with them. I linked up with Troy when we worked at Benchmade, and that's where we met, and then started working with Born and Raised, and they're like family, man. I mean, they're just down to earth humans. They're all just, you know, salt of the earth. And we do, they do a big bear camp all spring, and we go down there. We do like a Sig bear camp, and we go for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, and it's just a freaking hoot. I mean, it's so much fun. It's hunting with those guys it's a good time.
I think it's funny, like, you know, with the popularity of where these guys have come from. They're obviously the biggest Roosevelt crew out there, what I would consider like Roosevelt crew out there. I can't tell you how many people I've run into hunting Rosies, you know, that you can tell they've watched like Land of the Free or something like that. And I think those guys whacked like 4 bulls in 7 days or something like that. And they're like, I'm going to go hunt the Oregon coast. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be like super fun. Maybe they're coming from Eastern Oregon or out of state or something like that. And they get like 2-3 days into it. And they're like, this sucks, dude. This is brutal.
This is the first podcast we've done that's not in September now. So the best month of the year is over. I want to know how you guys, because you guys are all like big elk guys.
Yeah.
How does it feel that September
It's the worst.
is not here anymore?
Oh, it's the worst. I've been depressed for a week.
Like suicide watch?
I mean, borderline. I can't hardly get out of bed in the morning. I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm not
tough.
kidding. That's a real deal. The older I get, like when I get post hunt, and it's even worse if I had an unsuccessful hunt.
Yep.
I feel better actually, because I'm like, I got something to look forward to next year, you know, and I do anyway, but like successful hunt, it all went the way I wanted it to go. Yeah. You know, I had all these hopes and dreams for the year. It went perfectly. That next week when I get back, like I feel deflated.
The blues, dude.
It's like, that's a real thing. Like I get depressed.
Yeah.
It's a real bummer.
I mean, either way, success or not, it's like you like, it's incredible how fast that month goes, you know, every single year. And I get to the tail end of it, and you're just like, holy shit, dude. Like, where did it go? You know, what happened?
I look forward to that all year long. And then when it's gone, like when you feel like you've heard the last elk bugle for the year, it's like, oh no. Yeah. What have I done? I got to wait a whole another year. I hate it.
Yeah.
It does go by fast.
Oh,
yeah, it goes by quick. Yeah, I mean, considering that those cows go into heat, they're in heat for 32 hours, they get bred, you've got like, you know, that window of time where they're kind of cycling through and the bulls are bugling. I mean, it goes so fast. You're talking like, you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. You get some second cycle cows maybe in October, but for the most part, like it's so short.
Yeah.
That's why when I'm out there, like when I killed that bull in Colorado and I got, you know, Chris and his brother with me, and I'm like, no, you're not going to help me pack it out. Go hunting. Yeah. Because this window is just prime. You know, you got to take advantage of it. So, yeah, I'm sad.
What do you do now to not be so depressed? Do you start planning next year already? Do you start looking back at old hunts, watching videos? Like,
I mean, I still got a deer tag, but yeah, I spent, I don't know, probably an hour, 2 hours the other night looking at all my points. I bought my bonus points. I bought my preference points in Wyoming, so loaded up on those, and I'm already looking at points and looking to see where I can go next year. And I'm already kind of kicking around ideas. I'm looking at, and we don't have our draw odds for 2023 updated because we don't have all the data as of yet. But, you know, but I'm looking at the reports of the states that do have them, like Colorado, and I'm pulling individual hunt codes and I'm looking at them to see how many people. And I'm already kind of, you know, making plans. And I'm geeking out on gear.
Yeah.
You know, I'm shooting my bow every day still just because I like to do it. But yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of my off season looking at gear. You know, listening to arguments like these of why. And I think you guys
arguments.
Not arguments.
Tattoos.
What's the better word? You make good points. I should say. So,
passionate discussion.
Passionate. Yeah. I mean, logical. You make logical good points, which makes sense. I always get hung up on like glass. You know, I want the best glass. I want the best coatings. I want the clearest, brightest set of glass I can find. But there's definitely something to be said that that only does you so much good. If there's a better tool that you can glass quicker, more stable, that in itself does a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I'm getting there. You got me on the rangefinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm golden on the rangefinder.
Cool.
I was looking for a new rangefinder anyway. You know?
Looking for an excuse.
Yeah. Looking for an excuse because, like I said, the last animal I missed, I was like, kicking myself for that. But
I mean, what do you do after season? Like your guy, I feel like as a mule deer guy, your season's even shorter.
I'm kind of just getting going though. Luckily, like a lot of the mule deer seasons, are October, those general season hunts, because that's the worst time to hunt a mule deer. They're all timbered up.
Right.
They strip their velvet, and so I did have like slightly a mule deer hunt right now, but like I drew. Again, Cheryl's gonna laugh at me for saying this. I did draw like the best elk tag in a certain state.
hell yes.
Yeah, and so I actually have been putting all my eggs into scouting for that elk hunt because I'm never gonna have that tag again. It's a dream tag, once in a lifetime tag, basically.
Brady's gonna kill a bigger bull this year, and I'm gonna kill a bigger buck this year.
Yeah, he has a great mule deer tag. I have a great elk tag, but I do have some mule deer hunts coming up. But after that mule deer season's over, when November ends, like his month's September, my month is November.
Yeah.
I love November for chasing mule deer in the snow, in the cold, rutting mule deer. Like that is just everything to me. So November's my month. So December does suck.
Yeah.
Like it does hurt going from the highest of the high to it just like cuts off.
Yeah.
It's like you're quitting something cold turkey. Like you just go through withdrawals and just like, lots of nicotine. Just like questioning everything. But like Trail said though, like I do have so many other things I can get my mind away from that. Like I still shoot my rifle all the time.
Yeah.
That's the best time in Las Vegas. It sounds crazy, but that's the best time for me to start load development from the next year because it's so cool out. Like I can go
your environmentals are closer to what you're going to be hunting in at that point.
So like I can go to the desert in the winter and it could be like 24 degrees out in the desert, like frost in the morning.
Yeah.
And so that's when I get the best stuff. I don't try to shoot a ton in the winter because it is so far away from hunting season, but I can go and revalidate things or retweak things on my load to prep for next year. I'm always looking at maps and trying to research the next best area or taking all my old waypoints and extrapolating a bunch of stuff, trying to figure out, how to crack a puzzle for next year, taking successes and failures. But to me, December is the hard one. And it's hard too, because it's so close to new app season. Like I'm already starting to prepare for those new hunts right away. So I'm highest to high to now I have to quickly switch over to research and start applying in all these states.
Do you guys have more hunts coming up? Are you done for the year?
We've got Illinois coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna go sit in tree
right.
stands, do a little whitetailing.
The older, you don't look as old as some of us here at the table, but
I'm flattered, dude.
What are you trying to say?
53.
This guy. No, I'm kidding. Do you look forward to whitetail hunting the older you get?
I've only done it in Texas.
Okay, gotcha.
So that was like my first introduction to anything because I didn't grow up hunting. So like my introduction to hunting was like 21 years old in Southern California. And the first place I went out of state was Texas. And that was like, it's whitetail hunting, but it's like you're killing deer. And so I've never sat in a tree stand. So this is going to be
bundle up
different. Yeah. I have never sat in a tree stand, and it honestly just doesn't excite me a ton because I like hiking and I like putting miles on my boots. And
be interesting to see what you say after the hunt.
Yeah, I'm always open to try a new style of hunting, so it should be cool.
How comfortable are you sitting at tall heights with trees swaying back and forth in the wind, all nice and cold?
Dude, it's only 20 feet.
I'm not scared of heights or anything like that. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. It's just like the sitting still thing is gonna. I'm gonna struggle
in your head like, oh, I could be down here glassing right now, putting a stalk on something. But instead, I'm waiting for an animal.
I want to get on the ground and go after that.
Yeah.
I've sat in blinds on water for antelope, and that was like 3 days of hell. And I could move around in there.
Yeah, you can move around in there.
Yeah, so this I don't know. See, yeah.
If it's a good spot though, deer are active, and if they're moving, I think you'll have enough to look at.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to see if you like it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
This is Troy's game.
Yeah, reconnecting with it's been awesome, and it's cool too because we've got a late archery season in Oregon for blacktail. And so if you want to bow hunt that, like, especially up on the northern end of the state, like that's figuring out a pattern and tree stand hunting them is an awesome way to do it. You're sitting in pouring rain all day, but like there
Tells me
are
this every year.
a lot of similarities, and so
I like how passionate guys from Oregon are about blacktail hunting.
Dude, they're
archery,
sick.
blacktail hunting. They're just geek out hunt. They love it.
yeah.
They're like coos deer hunters from Arizona.
Yeah.
Everybody else looks at you like, what in the hell are you doing? You guys are crazy. And they're just so passionate about it.
Oh man, yeah. It's.
What makes it so exciting?
I think that there's just such an elusive animal
Yeah.
in that like deeper, darker timber, and that hunt falls over the rut, and so it's like that's the best chance you're going to have at seeing a mature blacktail that just does not see daylight, and so you don't really know what you're going to get, what's going to show up. Just like whitetail, sometimes like once the rut hits, you could be watching bucks on a camera all summer long. And things just get flipped upside down, and you start seeing deer that you've never seen before. So
I could see that.
and it's just like there's not a lot of people out there doing it. Once you kind of get like used to the suck of the weather and whatnot, it's just like it's like a badge of honor at a certain point. You dig it. So,
Do you enjoy sitting all day? Are you one of those people
yeah,
that sits
I'm an
daylight to
all-day
dark?
sit guy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Not so much. I'm with you. I love this.
It's just time in the woods, man. It's like I'm generally not taking a week off during late season blacktail. And so it's like I'm out there on a Friday. The days are short to begin with. And so you don't have a ton of daylight to work with. And if I'm just hunting like Saturdays and Sundays, I'm maximizing my time out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I get that. Sounds fun.
yeah, I'm rifle hunting this year.
Cool.
So that'll be kind of a different
That's a change.
side of things. Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
What time of year is that?
Starts this weekend, Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Our dates got pushed around this year. Like archery got pushed back a week, and so everything sequentially after that's a little later.
Do you guys feel like you're seeing an influx of like non-resident hunters to Oregon?
Yeah,
For
sure.
You
Especially
are?
spring bear season because
Oh, yeah, I can
Washington
see
lost,
that.
California lost.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so seeing a lot more pressure during spring bear season.
Is that on the chopping block in Oregon? Do you know?
No,
No.
not as of now.
No,
I would
hopefully.
like-
Sure.
Dude, we're in the
just not-
anti-state.
not
Don't put
on
that
wood.
in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Don't you put that juju on
yeah.
me, Ricky Bobby?
Elk season, I like it. It used to be that we could on a general tag hunt a lot of eastern units in Oregon, and now we've really cut back on that. And so I think those seasons, like we used to hunt Roosevelt's opening weekend. If we still had tags in our pockets, we'd go east, for a couple weeks, and then maybe come back and kind of finish things up on the coast. And so I don't see as many non-res. We see a lot of like Southwest Washington guys on the coast, but you don't get a lot of dudes from like Wisconsin driving across the country to come schlep around the Oregon coast. It was more of an Eastern Oregon kind of thing, but now that opportunity's dried up, I don't know, maybe it's just the fact that I'm staying so close to home and in my own little world, I'm just not seeing it. That world is a world that people don't want to travel.
Dabble in.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Once they experience it.
Yeah, it's its own little thing. I think it'll probably always stay that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
humans find a way to mess everything
maybe.
up. But
it does seem like this anomaly, this thing that people can't really figure out on their own,
Yeah.
And they don't dabble in it.
What about you, Trail? Are you ever going to go hunt Roosevelt?
I mean, I always said no, but maybe.
Have you never hunted roses?
No, never
Why?
hunted
Why?
rosies.
yeah, what's the hang up? Why not?
I mean, I like antlers. I like big antlers, and it's like I can go to Colorado and hunt. I can go to Idaho and hunt. So it's like, why would I drive to Oregon and hunt the jungle? But I mean, I see.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
You've hunted Sitka blacktails. You went up there for little antlers.
Yeah, but
You went for an adventure.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Hunting Roosevelt's an adventure.
yeah, I don't
It's like
know.
being
You
in
can shoot a
Jurassic.
big one.
Yeah, I mean, I get
You
that.
can
There's
shoot a
some
big
huge
one.
ones.
Yeah, I get
Big
it.
bodies, right? Aren't they
Oh,
bigger
Dude, there's
bodies
some
than
with
Rockies?
like
The
freaking
mass is
giant
like-
antlers too.
Yeah, giant bodies for sure. I could be convinced. I mean,
I'll show you some pictures after the podcast.
I could be convinced. It's just like I've been like, am I going to go to Oregon and hunt, or am I going to go to
Yeah.
Colorado or
Yeah.
Idaho?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
well,
It's like
Colorado
totally,
and Idaho
yes.
are right there.
September is so short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's quick. So I just have never done it, but I get it.
When we start, like a lot of the times, we'll start like third week of August, and so
Right.
you could sneak a week in before the going
Before,
gets
yeah.
good,
Yep.
wherever you want to hunt outside of that. But, and I think hesitate saying it. I think that third week, that like last week of August, is some of the best time to hunt.
Are you doing a lot of?
Roosevelts.
I mean, mostly calling, right? Calling, or do you do a lot of? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of calling.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's a million different ways to skin
Skin a
the
cat.
Roosevelt cat. Each guy kind of has their own like
Do you guys know what
formula.
skin a cat is? You know where that comes from?
Skinning cats.
Yeah. Do you know where that saying comes from?
No.
Skin a cat. I looked it up the other day because I said it at some other podcast, and I was like, I don't know what the hell that means. So I guess origins of it are Irish, and they used to call like a pine marten a tree cat, and they would make coats, clothing out of it, and so they would, more ways to skin a cat. And then I guess as people couldn't afford pine marten or marten because it was more expensive,
Went
they
to
would-
house cats.
house cats,
Really?
common cats.
No way.
Yep.
Wow.
Common cats. So you would get a house cat or just a domestic cat. They'd make a coat or whatever.
That's sick.
Article
I hate
clothing.
cats,
So the others-
dude. I would love a house cat coat.
Yeah,
I'm all for
I
it.
bet you could come up with
You're
enough.
all for it,
threat.
dude.
You're gonna have a ditch tiger coat.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I bet you could come up with enough of them.
Oh man.
Dude, we got them in our neighborhood. We've got a bunch of feral cats that run
What was
around.
that Netflix documentary of like the
Don't fuck with cats.
don't fuck with
Yeah,
cats,
yeah.
bro. Yeah, that was pretty heavy.
That was,
That's a documentary.
that was a whole.
Yeah,
that
super
wasn't
heavy,
exactly
dude.
what
It
I was
wasn't just
expecting.
I got like 10 minutes in.
Yeah. Anyway,
was
I
out,
diverted, but yeah, you're mostly calling then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my style.
Gotcha.
Is calling and
I'm not a very good caller. That's probably why I've never done it.
but I think
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a great caller.
I don't think you have to be a great caller.
Yeah.
You just have to know where to call.
It's funny. My own podcast, I talked about that because this bull I just shot in Colorado, I never made a peep spot and stock. He was bad at a bunch of cows, just kind of anticipated, worked my way in. It took me 3 hours to get to like a distance to where then I could allow him to make a mistake.
Yeah.
And I was kind of keeping that call as like my last ditch, like if
Yeah.
he moves off and it looks like it's not going to come together, then I'll use a call to try to lure him back in. But I got to thinking about it as I was doing this podcast and like the whole process of, practicing calling and working on that. Like some people love it. I don't. So part of my podcast was like play to your strengths, and one of my
for
strengths
sure.
is I'm super patient. I'm with you. I can sit in a tree. I can sit in a blind all day, every day, spot and stock. I can be really patient. I love to shoot my bow. So I feel like I can extend my range a little bit. I can be accurate, but like calling, like I get it. And Trent, I think Trent's told me before, like if he doesn't call an elk in, he doesn't want to shoot it.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I
100%.
yeah,
100%.
yeah, if he didn't call it in, he doesn't want to kill it. And I get that. I totally get it. It's just for me, I'm just not that way.
Yeah, I get it. And I think the patient, it's crazy like how many similarities I've found between whitetail and hunting Roosevelts. And patience is like immense for it. I think for a long time, you like Trent and the guys, they'll sound check a spot and
gone.
if they don't get a response, pretty darn fast, they're out.
Yeah, they're looking for the bull that wants to play that day.
Yep.
I mean, the thing with Roosevelt's, a lot of times what I've seen is like they're there and they're thinking about playing, but I just never gave them enough time to make up their mind.
Gotcha.
And so I'd, hit it, sound check, whatever. I don't get a response in 5 minutes. I'm gone. Like sitting up and calling, just, not over calling, but being patient, like giving a spot 30 minutes. Like if it looks phenomenal on a map, I'm going to sit there and pick it apart for half an hour, whatever. A lot of times you won't get an actual response back, but I can hear that thing stand up and snap a twig or just a quick moan or whatever. And that's your trigger. Like, he's there. So,
yeah, we had a bull in Colorado just this last, 2 weeks ago, I guess. Didn't bugle all morning, but we were walking through the woods. We cracked a branch and he piped off and he was 100 yards. Like, he assumes, I think, that it's probably another elk. And I think sometimes bulls do that. They'll pipe off and like I'd have never known he was there. He'd have let us walk right by.
Yeah.
So it's like a turkey.
yeah,
Shock
it's almost like a
gobbling.
shock
I had
gobble
these two
in a way.
guys, I had these two guys from Tennessee at the trailhead, and those guys went on for probably 35, 40 minutes about how much turkey hunting is like elk hunting. And I was kind of like, yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
guess.
hearing those discussions going, and all the elk
Sure.
hunters just hate that. When they,
Oh yeah.
I know they hate it. I don't know why. I don't.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, me either.
Whatever.
Yeah. I can see the similarities, right?
Everyone knows, listen to this podcast, I love turkey hunting, but I don't care to hear bugling bull. I'd rather hear turkey gobble.
Oh, man.
I love a turkey gobble.
gosh.
Really?
And
Wow.
that's the episode.
Wow.
Wow.
That tells me everything I need to do. Ground mule deer at night, basmati rice, and turkey gobble.
I mean, the turkey gobble is a pretty badass sound.
It is.
Especially in
Especially when
Eastern.
you're in the mountains. I'm talking about
mean,
mountain birds, like
They're
out
cool.
west.
They're like little velociraptors.
Yeah.
But forest horses are forest horses are way cool.
Forest horses are sick.
That is a good one.
By the way, that would make a great tattoo. I've been staring at your sticker on the back.
Which one? The girl?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's an amazing tattoo.
Shout out Mountain Project.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mountain Project
Yeah.
guys.
That's
Yeah,
badass.
I absolutely love that stuff. I love going into airports and it's like busting my laptop open on my thing. I'm like, I wonder who's like staring at my laptop, checking that out. I'm thinking I'm some, I don't know.
That's a tattoo right there.
Yeah, it's a great tattoo.
Is that
Yeah.
Hank Hill?
Yeah.
Pack a buck.
God damn it,
Dude,
Bobby.
that's sick.
Yeah, Dave Barnett did that one, right? Yeah,
I like that.
yeah. Good old hunt stickers. There's some
Yeah.
good ones out there. There's some really bad
I
ones.
need to step up my game. I need
Tattoo
to-
ideas.
Yeah,
Back to the
tattoo
tattoos.
ideas. I like
Dude.
that.
Well, let's stay in touch. If we can shoot Vegas, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'd be into that.
Yeah.
That would give me some mad motivation.
Yeah.
I'd like that. That'd be fun. We'll see if it's feasible.
Or you guys could do that, and then you also could join us. We could do like maybe a NRL hunter.
Oh,
thing.
yeah. There you go.
I've never done one.
Trail and I each get a proficient partner,
Okay.
and it's
All right. So here's the
Sig
deal.
and GOHUNT.
I've got a proposal.
Mix
in.
and match.
Oh boy.
All right, so Peter Howell, one of the guys that works for us, he puts on a match every year. I was telling you guys about this
Yeah.
at lunch. It's called I think they're going to change the name, but right now it's called the S3 Coyote Sniper Challenge. It's in Montana, and I did it last year with Garrett Long from Meat Eater, and we had a blast. And it's like, it's more of a, it's not NRL hunter where you have to like, you're not glassing on the clock and finding targets, but it's more of like PRS style format. But it's a freaking blast, and the camp is amazing, and it's team shoot, so it's like 2 guys per team, and yeah, maybe we can
can either do
muster up a
Sig-
competition for a tattoo.
I don't think Brady has any tattoos either.
No,
Ah,
I do not.
You and Trail versus Troy and I.
just a
think that
big,
sounds like a
big
good
neck tattoo,
competition.
Yeah.
Brady. Me and you right here.
I mean, I've thought about tattoos, but I think
Neck
it has,
tats
to
are
be,
in.
it has to be a mule deer or it has to be like my Marco Polo ram. It has to be something like meaningful to me.
Throat.
Throat.
That's the whole
Marco
thing with
Polo
these-
throat
these
tattoo.
That would be sick.
The bets are
Dude,
they're not
your-
meaningful though.
Your hinge account would go
Oh, way to the
wild,
roof.
wild with the neck
yeah
tat.
with the Marco Polo throat
I
tat.
mean, that'd be pretty
a euro
tight.
right here.
That'd be pretty tight.
That would be
Yeah.
pretty,
Yeah,
Trail Scouts.
pretty dope.
have it wrap around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting how we went back to my hinge account.
Yeah, full circle,
full
man.
Sweet, full circle.
You're welcome.
You got any other questions for these guys?
No,
We
I think
wrap it up.
I think we nailed it. That was a good discussion. I'm glad to have you guys down here to talk about optics because I'm passionate about optics. I love.
Yeah, thanks for
Just
coming
keep-
down.
Yeah. Thanks for having
That
us.
was really
Thank
good.
you,
It was,
guys.
it was
We
fun to
appreciate
hear.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate the partnership, and I think you guys have done a phenomenal job. I mean, to essentially come on into the market, within the last 5-6 years, you guys have done a really bang up job.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
both in terms of marketing, product, the whole thing, the whole suite. So
More
Yeah,
to come.
lots
We're just
more to come.
Kind of getting rolling.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
we appreciate you guys too.
Yeah, it's been fun. These things are flying off the shelves. I know we
That's
keep
good to
constantly
hear.
ordering
Yeah.
more and more optics
Yeah.
from you guys.
I
so-
signed up for the wait list, and I saw them finally pop back on. I was like, all right, back in business.
Back in stock.
Yeah.
Brady, you want to hit us with a promo?
You said you got some promos today.
Oh, I got promos. Yeah, I got promos. So
Yeah.
brand new. We just launched GOHUNT New Topo. It's our proprietary own topo map. So if you guys want to check that out, you want to sign up for a GOHUNT Explorer account, you can do that with the promo code podcast. If you do that, we're going to give you 20 points back in the GOHUNT gear shop. You can use that towards the purchase of a brand new rangefinder, which I would recommend, or a new pair of binos would be pretty sick. If you want to sign up for a GOHUNT Insider account, you still use that promo code podcast. We'll give you 50 points back into the GOHUNT gear shop. Still a lot of hunting to be done. And like you said, we're already talking about applications
Applications are coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
coming up.
It's crazy to think it's October and we're starting to think about 2024 hunts.
Yeah, I mean, rumor is Arizona deer tag is coming sooner than later. You've got Idaho OTC December 1.
Yeah.
Like I said, you got point purchase timeframes right now. Montana's just passed on the 30th. You've got Wyoming to the end of the month. So now's a great time to start digging into your research, and it's in the details. You start doing all the work right now just to ensure that you have a tag in your pocket and then a good hunt in 2024. So
And if you're still looking to pick up tags, you can still pick up tags.
yeah,
So a lot of hunting to be done.
Yeah, you can pick up a tag, use some research to try to figure out where in that state to go. Like, there's a lot of
go to Oregon, hunt
opportunities.
Rosies. These guys would love to have
Heck
you.
yes.
Don't come to Oregon.
It's over.
It sucks.
This podcast. is
Everyone
done.
always razzes on us for talking about Colorado all the time. We should start talking about Oregon all the time.
No. We have our own problems.
Pump your brakes.
Got wolves everywhere.
Yeah.
It's going downhill.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
We out.